đấu này đã chống chịu được cho đến biết lâu quá. Hủy diệt đến từ những tay và tấn công.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the APL. The Arena of Valor action has been brought to you here by me, your caster, Getting Q, with my co-caster today, Contra, as we will be bringing you more games from Group B itself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you feeling, Aaron?
Well, I'm feeling really great. It's great to be back here once again. Brand new week for all of the top teams of AOV across the globe here to prove themselves once again in the AOV Premier League. So far, of course, there's so many of all these teams really showing a lot of great performances week after week, and now we're going into this Group B with some of the most challenging games out there for the ones to come. But speaking of that, we'll be talking about some of the results that has happened over the past couple of days. And of course, in these matches, we did see FTV actually defeating the once world champions Team Flash 2-0. And of course, one team who will be playing today, they will also be facing off another team that will be coming in, which is going to be Elvo. And of course, a match 51, we did see Buriram tying things with FAP-TV.
Just in case you guys don't know, this is a best of 2 within the group stage itself. So these teams will be fighting for points to make sure they make it into the playoffs itself. Only the top teams will be able to get there out of their group. And here are the standings. Burman United Esports still standing on top with 17 points, with Bazaar Gaming just right under them, 15th, followed by Flash Wolves. That's going to be 13 points. Team Flash and FAP-TV both at 11, and everybody else is going to be below them. So it's going to be some tough games coming in from one team and Team Elvo if they want to gain any points to kind of raise their status here as of now.
Yeah, I'm looking at Team Flash as well as FAP-TV. Today will be a really momentous day for them because they really have to perform in the case that they really want to climb up the ladder. Looks like Buriram United won't be challenged all too much. They will be sitting out for today. As for today's schedule for Group B, we'll be looking at one team facing off against Flash Wolves, followed by that over on towards 6 p.m. onwards, we'll have Team Flash taking on Team Elvo. And last but not least, FAP-TV against Bazaar Gaming.
Yeah, and this is going to be an extremely exciting day here because like a lot of these teams haven't had the opportunity to actually get their 8th game in. So now that they do, it's going to be really exciting to see what they are willing to show up here in these, especially in this group stage, in a best of 2.
Exactly, and you know, starting off this matchup here, we've already talked about all these teams that are somewhere in the middle of the pack, trying to prove themselves to actually get by. And things are really looking quite tough, especially for Team Flash, which we did not really expect them to drop the game 0-2. We were looking at pretty much maybe a 1-1 or so, but FAP-TV now looking at a really good hot form. Would it be great enough for them? But of course, let's start off with one team here. This is their lineup as we have Tura, Haki, Yusel in the jungle. We'll see who will be playing off for today. And for the support role, we have Kevin and Kit will be on that DS lane. And this will make one team.
Yeah, and these guys are a force to be reckoned with here, sitting in the middle of the table. They want to be able to jump up to at least contest for those top spots as well. But don't forget about their competitors, the Flash Wolves. In Dark Slayer, it's going to be Heroes, the man himself, Gua and Garwa, ADL, as well as the support, Kato and Wayne within the jungle itself, and Cece as their mid laner. More importantly, we're not entirely sure which of this lineup is going to be going into here today as the main lineup, but hopefully it's going to be their best.
Exactly. It's more to see whether or not Kato or Wayne will be actually stepping out as their AD. But you can see that one team is already fixated their eyes on making sure that all their settings are pretty much checked. And yeah, it's been pretty much a long day for some of all these teams as they, of course, play multiple games to actually get themselves prepared. But hey, Flash Wolves. Well, now it's going to be a really big test for the side of one team because they can't afford to drop any more games or else they just sit out of the tournament.
Yeah, and that's going to be extremely frustrating to deal with here. So now that one team has an opportunity to actually take it away and actually put Flash Wolves down in a lower position while increasing their own, it's going to mean a lot is on the line. With one team, their lineup for today is going to be Kid, Hake, Tura, Yeikyu, as well as Kevin. This is going to be pretty interesting here. I'm actually curious to see what Flash Wolves' lineup is going to be.
All right, and of course, all eyes will be fixated on whether or not Hake as well as Tura will be turning things a notch today. Same goes to Yeshu. Usually they will be able to actually hold their own respectively, but now Flash Wolves, of course, known to be one of the more mechanically gifted teams out there. It's definitely going to be a little bit of that tussle right there. They really got to put on their A game to make sure they at least secure a point by the end of today.
Yeah, man. With so much on the, I don't know. These teams have to go through so much pressure, even though it's just like a best of 2. They're not even going through full best of 3s where they have opportunities to actually take games. So in best of 2s, every single one of these games matter. Even if you draw out with a team, at least you're coming out with a point.
Yeah, and of course, this is where, when it comes down to group stages, really, there are some sort of the surprises somewhere in store for them, because based on the sort of rulings that they've been playing, you know, it's not really like the best of 3s or best of 5 formats. So best of 2s, a little bit more challenging. But these are your players for Flash Wolves for today. We're going to be starting off with Heroes, Kato, CC, Gado, as well as Gua. And usually, you know, CC is definitely that man to watch in the mid lane because he knows how to really put that pressure on towards the enemy side. And of course, great rotations as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to what they really will bring to the table this time around. We've seen some interesting draft throughout the previous couple of days. And, you know, there's a lot to expect. But these are your players to watch. We did mention about hockey early on. Now, looking at some of these stats here, of course, one team might not have as much great win rates as compared to Flash Wolves, but you can look at the KD differences in between the two of them. But the average MVP stats are pretty much not too far off, and based on the damages, they also put up quite a number. Now look at the picks here. You can see that they do have certain similarities on what they would want to go for.
Remember, these are point picks. They're not favorite picks. They're just picks that happen to that have been selected within the group stages itself. And you know, global pick ban runes aren't in effect in best of 2s. But we're waiting to see how much more these players can play because the meta is always constantly going to be, hey, in best of 2s, we have to pick the best composition we can make every single round.
Exactly, and of course, we've seen a lot of bans over on things like Zip, and sometimes even like all these big carries, or even the likes of Kafni has been really much a hot, popular pick right there. But, you know, every now and then you still got the Florentinos to come right by. But it's really depending on the execution of what their team has in store. Are they looking for those heavy engagements or those pickoffs on the side lanes? Of course, we're about to actually going into it's the first game to actually tell how things are gone around. So what are your expectations coming in for Game 1?
Well, I'm expecting Game 1 to be a little bit more, well, one team likes to play a more standard style of game, while Flash Wolves likes to play off of their snowball. The question is whether they can get that, especially against a very cool and calm play coming in from one team. I expect mid-game to get a little bit more interesting, but let's jump into the picks and bans. Florentino, Alice, and Zip instantly banned. That is pretty quick ban phase here coming in, but now passing back to the Flash Wolves, what do they reply with?
Seems like they would be going for one more ban right there, which I think that's pretty much a freaking thing that they would go for. But this opens up the Krizzix though, which I think is really the best support available for them to actually hop right in with this sort of the opening of the draft, and one team actually going in for the safe route.
Yeah, and I think the safe route here, well, I don't know. I mean, Alice is a really, really good support, and I would argue is probably a better support in this case instead of the Krizzix, because Krizzix kind of makes your team a little bit more one-dimensional in terms of where you're designing your comp. So starting off with the Krizzix, I find particularly interesting where they could have gone for an Elendor, they could have gone for the Richter if they really wanted to, maybe even a Kafni, arguably, but nobody really starts off on the blue side with Kafni. But Flash Wolves lock in the Yepneth as well as the Raz.
Yeah, I'm liking what I see here coming from the side of Flash Wolf. Quite a number of burstiness coming from the Raz itself, trying to actually make plays across the map with Yipnif, of course, coming in towards certain team fights here in terms of all these ganks will be pretty much efficient. Now, your thoughts over on that Omen right here? Would this be a really good pick for them?
I think Omen overall is really, really good, especially with the opening that Flash Wolves have set up for themselves, Yepneth and the Raz as well. I feel like the Raz, he was blind picked, so that means they were ready to actually give it up. Yebneth was the major priority for the team, so Flash Wolves look to play a little bit more controlled. They have a Roxy on top of everything, else to kind of deal with the Omen. Just tell him, hey, I don't really want to interact with the lane, but I still want to push, so
Yeah.
I'm getting a wave clear whether you like it or not.
That is pretty much true, as we are looking at the Roxy being the final pick for the first phase for Flash Wolves. But the bans have come in, and we are looking at Malak being taken off, as well as, well, Richter, that you did mention early on, won't see the light of day for Game 1. Very interesting that, you know, they actually hover into this sort of consideration, and maybe they do expect the enemies to really go for pretty much a burst mage sort of composition, so they do try to eliminate some of that threat.
But also remember that they don't have their jungler locked in yet for the side of one team here. So Hake, he is still holding up his options as well, trying to force out to see what Flash Wolves have. What do Flash Wolves have in store for them? Because Krizix is wide open, is completely wide open. Elendor has been. Oh, Elendor actually has been banned out this time. So okay, that's a little unfortunate. Let's see how Flash Wolves deal with this.
Well, we did see quite a number of Lubu games, as well as Cricknack.
That is true.
Which will be pretty much an interesting option. Seems like they're going to be going for the Joker. So that.
Oh yeah, it's Cricknack. I kept calling him Krizix for no reason.
Yeah, because like one team has already got the Krizix on their side. That will not really make too much sense. But hey, over on the side of Flash Wolves, we do see quite a number of the good balance, as the Joker did provide them with a little bit more of that long-range pokes, and this would pretty much be very interesting to watch. What about one team? What would they actually conclude this draft with?
Still need the jungler, but dude, this is really tough to say. It really is tough, because at this point in time, they kind of need a bruiser to kind of fill up the position. Marja definitely kind of fits the build in that sense, can take a lot of the damage and just zone herself out. If the situation gets bad enough, last 8 seconds, what's it going to be? They're hovering over the Zephyrus. I like the Zephyrus. The Marja I'm kind of like in between on, you know? They still had quite a number of options that they could have gone on for, but I think Flash Wolves just did a really good job of, hey, we know that you want to play a mage that just pushes the wave and doesn't really interact as much as possible just to have priority over mid, so they get rid of the Ignis, and now, you know, one team doesn't really have a lot of options that deal with Raz as well.
Yeah, like I'm really looking at the defensive side of things, and I'm thinking that Flash Wolves right now, of course, they rely a lot on that Ibnith, on that department, while the rest of them, yeah, a little bit, I wouldn't really call Raz that squishy, but, you know, he gets himself into some difficult positions. That's where the Flicker really comes useful in those sort of sticky fights. But now I'm looking at Flash Wolves. They might need something that, you know, can somewhat give them a little bit more effectiveness when it comes down to whether or not they can hold their ground in those team fights. And Rogue seems to be that perfect choice that we talk about here. And it seems like they will be, of course, switching it up, where Kato will be playing in the jungle.
Yeah, so they got a pretty beefy lineup overall. I mean, Roxy, Yibnith on top of the Rook main damage dealers is going to be both Rook, Raz, and the Joker. So it's going to be interesting to see here, because now that the marksman is going to be someone else besides the regulars that we've seen so far. We'll see how Joker fares up, especially in this Kafni matchup, where he is able to actually get some, you know, damage in, harass back. Where Kafni has been the dominant one, making sure that people don't really get to walk up in lane.
Yeah, but I really like the sort of combos that one team has, because they do have that Omen with them, as well as the Marja, so they really can apply that sort of pressure where you just have Omen just lock somebody down and you just crash right in from the side lanes, and hoping to actually open up the map from the early game onwards. That's the game plan for the side of one team. But now we're about to actually hop into the fight. But before that, we got a little bit of a cheering event coming from the GCS fighting.
All right, let's load into the game here and look at the compositions one more, because one team, they've got some great engage tools with Hake on the Zephyrus here. With the combination of Krizix, they can kind of rotate around the map really fast. So lane priority is going to be super, super important if they want to get first rotations on a lot of moves.
Yeah, and I'm really looking at both sides here. They really have very specific plans. I'm looking at the combo where they can actually pull in from Roxy as well as, you know, Raz itself, which they really can put quite a staggering amount of damage from the get-go. So this early levels, we're going to be looking at Flash Wolves really shoving off the lane, with CC leading from front, while the rest of the members of one team, they are just holding fort, while Zeph is just clearing off from the bottom side of the map. But we're seeing an invasion coming from the side of Flash Wolves.
Yeah, they want to just kind of hold their ground here, but the rest of one team is kind of slowly collapsing. It's a 3v3 here. The rest of the team can't really do too much. And it's not like they don't want to contest. They are a very pokey, harassy type composition coming in from Flash Wolves, especially in the early game when you've got some great range coming in from Raz as well as the Joker. So you might as well abuse that while you can. And once again, you can see that Hero's dealing really, really well with Kid here up into the top side of the map, making sure it's as unfun as possible for this Omen.
Yeah, but the Omen did steal that camp away, and that's a little bit unfortunate, but not too bad of a start as we are looking at very slight difference of gold margins for now. But that Raz is definitely looking for a pick-off right there as we are seeing CC moving across in towards the top side of the river right now. Nothing too much coming in from the side of one team. They are playing it extremely passively. They already know the sort of rotations that Flash Wolves can pull out, and there's hope, a little bit of hope for them to perhaps secure a lot more objectives with this. And they're going to be starting off with the Sentinel. This will definitely go in the hands of Flash Wolves as Kato secures that.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about. One team's playstyle is very much, you know, very control mid-game based. They don't really want to do too much inside the early game when they don't have to, because the losses just isn't worth it. But now, with the Abyssal Dragon going to be contested from both sides. Kato in the flank. Sees Hake actually dash over. This might be a great opportunity. And yeah, they're jumping onto Hake here, bringing down 50% of his HP. But no, he gets instantly punched back coming in from CC. And now Kevin on the chopping block, making it easy for Kato right in front of his face, making sure that he lands every single one of those arrows.
Well, that's pretty much bad timing for Hake. He just hopped straight in towards the camp, and he's got no other spells to actually move across. So he really have to give his life out. And of course, if he was to be a little bit more diligent, the Wolf just easily walked in towards the camp, maybe clear it or, you know, sense danger and just hop out. But, you know, kind of really cry over spilt milk as we are seeing Flash Wolves leading with that 2-0, pretty much having that perfect rotation towards the bot lane.
Exactly, and a lot of it is just due to making sure they control mid lane here. Kevin going invisible just in time, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. The damage has been done. They've lost a little bit of health, and CC is going to continue to be launching these fireballs, hopefully connecting on one of one team's members. Gaduo rotating towards the mid side. Doesn't look like he's going to get too much off of this as the play is being called here from the side of Flash Wolves. Roxy has rotated very early on. Tura taking so much damage, but this is Marja. She ain't going to die anytime soon.
Yeah, of course, easily regenerating right back up. Oh, huge chunks of damage being pulled out, but it seems like Flash Wolves will try not to overextend in that mid lane battle. They are just looking to secure as much gold as they can, and now they can actually collapse over onto the bottom side with all 4 members, but one team seems to be very much ready for this engagement.
Yep, they want to play this slow, and now Hake just kind of finding himself in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't want to rotate there, especially from the river side. It's not looking too good here, but one team, they haven't lost too many objectives yet. Abyssal Dragon, sure, they might be down in a little bit of EXP and gold, but not so substantial that they can't win a team fight.
Exactly, and of course, a little bit of fun fact right down below, but here comes the team fight.
Yep, they're already going to begin. Cafe opens up with the ultimate. Kid quickly going with the Ice Smite. Instantly goes down. Marja buying a little bit of time, but Gua, that ultimate is going to slow down that retreat. They can't pick off one more, but already a very good fight coming in for Flash Wolves.
Yeah, even though one team did have a really good read on towards that place, Kid cannot really do all too much. He's already got that that spell being used up in that sort of situation, so he really have to just expend himself while the rest of them were just falling back. Hake, though, having a really tough time over the mid side as we are seeing Tura coming in for the flank. Seems like Gua is really unfazed about that, and they can't really force any sort of engagement. One team really needs to wait for those scalings before they can really hit hard towards the side of Flash Wolves.
And that's kind of the problem here, because a lot of it has just to do with lane priority, like who has the better wave clear. And Flash Wolves very clearly have the better wave clear in top, mid, and bottom. And as of right now, one team kind of have to wait for Flash Wolves to make a move before they look for the counter engage. If not, it just does not matter because they won't be able to profit off of the team fight.
Oh, this is looking really tough for him as Kit wants to actually engage in this 1v2. Here comes the turnaround here as Tura's coming right by. A little too late though. Heroes will secure that and take down the turret alongside with it. But Tura though, still hoping to actually hold on to this lane. And of course, the Maja cannot really fully engage on that 1v2 scenario after all.
Yeah, she is still lacking in items here, but the rest of the team is going to slowly pull back, clear their waves, look to invade again. Gua already in the middle just to try and get the information for his team. He sees 3, he sees the Might Golem. He kind of want to get out. He pops his ultimate to get a little bit of a shield for the rest of his team to start rotating here, but it's not looking too great for Flash Wolves overall. But does one team want to capitalize on this? Doesn't seem like they want to jump on.
Nah, it seems like they just really have to play it like, extremely safely. They got to give up that AD over to the hands of Flash Wolves right now, and we are looking at heaps of gold going over the side of Flash Wolves, and now with most of these members backing away, look at the snipe! Oh, that really hurts.
Yeah, Joker already has the rank breaker, and he's just going to keep up with the harass, and he's doing a really good job forcing people forcing people under turret to actually recall, making them lose gold and EXP within the lane. Really nicely done so far by Gaduo.
Yeah, and I gotta say, time after time, one doesn't seem like they have too much of a plan on how they want to really counter some of all these movements of Flash Wolves, but here comes Kevin just holding in towards the mid side. Tura constantly getting harassed, like you're not supposed to take too much even though you know that you can absorb a little bit of that damage.
Yep. You can already see Heroes trying to buy some time. Marja going in, getting some bit of a spellbank. Gua already popping his ultimate to disengage the rest of the team and deter one team from looking for any plays here. They don't even have the numbers at this point of time. Kafni's only level 8 and Hake at level 10. We haven't seen him look for these hard engages, allowing Flash Wolves to just sit on the Dark Slayer without having to worry. If Tura steals this, okay, thank God. Tura doesn't steal it this time.
Yeah, it seems like there is a little bit of a distance coming in. Big zoning coming from members of Flash Wolves, but Tura overextending a little bit, and yep, drops to 35%. They can't engage with Tura being solo all the time, and this is one issue that Flash Wolves can actually, I mean, one team needs to really consider, like, if they really want to pick up on those fights, who should they go for first? Maybe that Roxy? You can't really full engage on towards the Joker because he could easily just use the killing joke and just, you know, flunk himself up in the air, and it just sets up the team fight for the rest of Flash members.
Yeah, and especially with Can Laughter, just to like put some to really. It doesn't even displace, it's just that the slow is so significant that you can't really like, it's almost equivalent to a stun because it's so difficult to move. But now Flash Wolves, you can see, once they got their snowball going, they start getting more dominant inside this map. They're taking control over the jungle, they're denying space, they're trying to get as many objectives as possible. Krizix is trying to protect mid side, Rook is going to be able to break that, no problem. Krizix is actually in position to go in for this engage here. Oh, but the pick has already been made, and Krizix, he already sucks in two, they're pulling in one. Gaduo is able to jump and dash away, but now their backs are completely open. Hake, fully invested in this fight, is going to go down. EQ, he has to keep on kiting, but Heroes is going to make sure that he's locked him down into place. And even with the Winter's Mark, it's not going to be enough. Kevin here really low. Are they going to dive? I doubt it, but this is not looking good as they still have plenty of damage on that Drake to make things work.
This is one of the cleanest games that we've seen so far coming in from Group B, and Flash Wolves really pulling on that great execution. And although Hake seemed like he did have a small little window of opportunity, he dove right in, and I just love how they just displaced him instantly, where CC, he saw the trap, he just pushed him over, and now he got pretty much even more amount of gold, and one really has to fall back.
Yep, they're just dancing back and forth. They don't want to get hit by all the harassment coming in from Flash Wolves. Their poking tools are trying to be minimized, but it is going to be a tough game. 7k gold lead in favor of Flash Wolves. Let's look at that replay one more time and how this gank was actually set up by Krizix and where it went wrong. And I think when Tura died, ooh.
Yeah, that definitely was very costly, but look at Hake. He was diving over the side of Gado, and look at how they actually executed this. CC just flickers over the wall and just pushes him perfectly in towards the the other opposing direction, and they could just single out the fight. Having 2 members down, they cannot commit even further, and, you know, they lost the tower as well. And it's about 10 minutes, 7-0, and I feel like one team really needs to figure things out eventually, or else they might just actually drop this game out.
Yep. You can see they're going to keep on putting that pressure onto the side lanes. They've already broken broke mid tier 1 and 2, so now all that is left standing is just this tier 2 coming in from the top side here. Flash Wolves still maintaining as much control as possible, but notice that Roxy is pulling attention away from this side of the map as well, which is really, really great here, because now one team who wants to go towards the Dark Slayer to contest it, Gua already popping his ultimate to slow down an entire area. Hake puts a little bit of damage into it, but he is the main tank. Yeah, Q gets chunked out to 50% of his HP from one fireball from CC as they continue to start pushing through, and they've set up the Drake to slow push with the wave up on the top side.
Oh boy, they're just gonna rinse and repeat on the same formulas that they did in the bottom lane as well. Now, with members of one really having to respond to this, they really don't seem to have a clue how could they, A, get the Drake, or 2, stop some of all these pressure coming from members of Flash Wolves, because the Roxy has been pretty much insane in controlling every single one of all these side lanes, and there goes that 1v1, but focus is up top lane.
Yep, Tura already taking a little bit of damage here as they looking to push and break this high ground tower. Tura still able to wave kill pretty effectively. He gets hit by CC. It gets chunked out pretty hard. Hake is still looking for that engage, but they do break that high ground tower. They're looking for a second one. Hake goes for the engage, and now Yemnev quickly pops his ultimate to kind of slow this entire engagement down. Nobody can go in on it thanks to this Yemnev ult.
Oh boy. I'm not sure how on earth could they even make a big comeback, because now not only the gold disparity is all too high, they don't have any priority at all. Every single time you see Hake trying to make a play to follow up, not to say it was all too lacking, there was just too many layers of defenses coming in from the side of Flash Wolves for them to do anything at all.
Yeah, they have to play this a little more calm and collected, and unfortunately one team was not able to stop the bleeding, and they kind of just let Flash Wolves take priority because the composition just cannot keep up with the amount of push that they had during the mid game. And now, hopefully that they've scaled here because they don't have a lot of time to work with. It's currently 0-8. Kid gonna hit the chopping block real soon. Oh, but he manages to make it on out of there, thankfully, thanks to Kevin here. But Kevin's gonna be the one who gets yanked on backwards by Roxy. Kapney is trying to keep her distance away. Gua being right in her face, making it a little bit more tough. Uses his ultimate again, regens all the way back up to almost full health. Yep, and that's how far ahead Flash Wolves is. 11k ahead of their opponents. 13 minutes into the game.
I just gotta be straight up honest. This is looking way too one-sided for Heroes, trying to actually make another play over on the side of Kid. Drags him all the way in towards the teammates, and he will eventually fall. It's a bloodbath for Cattle as they're looking for more. Might that be a double kill? Let's wait and see. Yes, it will be, and that will also mean 3 other members have all been shredded off, and Yeku running for his life. Only a tick of health left, and it seems like a Flash Wolves game from here on as they look to crush the core. Kato still chasing over the side of Yeku as well, takes him down, leaving only Tura behind, but it's already set, over and done. Flash Wolves takes game 1.
What a clean game coming in from Flash Wolves. They were just allowed to play their entire plan with no punishment whatsoever coming out from one team here. Very good performance from Flash Wolves. Hopefully they keep it up in game 2.
Oh boy, this definitely was something I didn't really expect. I mean, yes, Flash Wolves is one of the strongest teams coming from the GCS region, but one team, hey man, they really got to look for plans on how they really got to get themselves that momentum to move forward. And seems to be that they seem very upset on this first game. And yeah, they really got to look for maybe a better drafting in towards game 2.
Yeah, I think Flash Wolves just came in more prepared with a composition that is really synergized with each other, allowing it to kind of rotate around. The second red side bans coming in from Flash Wolves are also really, really smart, taking out options that are flexible like the Malok as well as the Ignis for the mid lane here. But here is your most valuable player. The MVP has to go to Kato this round, and I think he played a really great... It's not just him, you know, it's the way he plays with his team. They play around priority really, really nicely, allowing him to just kind of steal away the jungle from their opponent to starve them out. And once they have that snowball up and running, ooh, it is tough.
Yeah, and we've already had that infographics up that he is the MVP with the highest points in Group B, and it's going to be no different from here. Kato being the star of the series here with, of course, the best score out there. Kato definitely holds his own as well. Pretty much similar stats, but, you know, hey, the jungler did a little bit more damage than the Joker for sure. So, you know, what has to be improved coming in from the side of one team?
I think what one team needs to start deciding very early on is which priority picks that they want to get, because eventually it's like, oh yes, you do get the Kha'Zix for yourself, but like, did you really utilize it throughout the entirety of the match? And Kha'Zix really struggles up against, you know, a composition that kind of keeps him at bay. So as long as he doesn't have priority, nobody really wants to go for these early skirmishes unless it's a skirmish that's between the waves. And I think the only person who actually wants to do that is Hake. And even Hake kind of struggled to get in on fights.
Yeah, and I felt like Hake had a couple of issues, especially you have to go through the Ibnif first.
It really just was that Yibnethal, right?
Yeah, I mean, other than that, it was all the other issues were all the sort of composition that Flash Wolves did pull out. They have really high mobility, and not only that, the Roxy, I gotta commend that sort of play where if she is on the side lanes, it's a guaranteed move where the members of one team really have to put their focus on towards her. And in team fights, it's like you don't want to get anywhere close to her.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So a lot of just shutdown tools coming in for the side of Flash Wolves. But let's jump over to the highlights itself to kind of reiterate what exactly happened in this game, because there's a lot of moments here where you do see one team actually trying to set something up. They've had some pretty good hard reads as well, where they know exactly where they're going to be based off of a slight motion. They don't have the information, but they know that they're going to be there, so they have the members ready and set up for those counter engagements. Hopefully we get to capture some of those moments, because it's important to know. You want Kha'Zix to be aggressive, you want Hake to be aggressive as well. You're going to have to move as a team, and I think the response coming in from Flash Wolves was really, really nice as well.
Exactly that, and of course we'll look in towards the highlights in a short bit, and of course we'll be right back. And those were the highlights for our very first matchup as Flash Wolves take the very first pointer right here. This gives them a little bit more edge to chase up against all the other big teams, especially for Buriram United that's sitting pretty at the top. Of course, it still takes quite a number of games for them to really even the odds against the top team hailing from the RPL side. So far, things are looking pretty great for the side of Flash Wolves. I don't really feel like they need to actually change much, because there's so many great layers for them. Like, they got the offenses all down, and the crowd control was insane. Like, that one moment that I really liked was the only engagement where one team really wanted to pull the trigger inside the jungle over the bottom side, where Haki tried to ride in on towards one fallen ally with Tura. Of course, he faltered down, but he saw that opening over on the side of Gado, and he wants to go in for a chase. But CC, not only was CC in a really tight position, he actually flickered over the wall and just made sure he actually secures that kill and denying them even one kill over side of one team.
Yeah, it was a pretty brutal game, ending at 0-14. It's like not exactly the best performance coming in from one team for sure. Hopefully that they change it up a little bit more. But in terms of their composition, what would you have kind of preferred them to go? Because I feel like the draft was like very much hard won by Flash Wolves. Like they really encompassed everything and still denied options for the side of one team.
Well, I felt like one team did have a pretty alright draft, not gonna lie, but I just felt like their priorities are all over the place, where they, in the first couple of minutes, they don't seem like they're actually trying to look for those kills over the side lanes, which I felt the top lane, they could have done something to punish them for a moment.
Roxy especially, when
Exactly.
she gets when she starts to do her proxying shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you put maybe slightly enough pressure, she won't be also dominant in the lane where, you know, you didn't really get the DS lane all activated. What about the bottom side? Because like Joker, before he gets his element, he is slightly punishable.
Yeah. And I think, you know, those were options that they could cover it. I think Flash Wolves just played a really good game, and hopefully they make a little bit more mistakes to give and allow, you know, one team to have the opportunity to start bouncing back and showing their quality here. But so far, they're looking like they're on form. This is their first game of the day, so expect them to be kind of like, you know, still fresh, still good to go. But in game 2, I think things might change, especially in the draft where they switch sides.
Yes, exactly. And so for the side of Flash Wolves, they have to prepare for a blue side composition where, of course, early on we did see the opening being the Kriziks, of course, but now we're starting off with the picks and bans as we are looking at no Alice being played for the entirety of the series. Same goes to Florentino as well as Zip. These are quite the most popular bands out there that we've been seeing throughout the rest of the week.
Oh yeah, I don't think people have really changed too much on the Alice and Zip bans. I think the most interesting ones are so far are whether or not Florentino actually makes it through. And sometimes he does make it through, but I think a lot of teams have started to stray away from the Dark Slayer lane just because like it's not as impactful of a role as the supports, for an example, especially the early mid, especially in the many different phases of the game, the early, mid, and the late, they are always relevant here. But yeah, once again, a strong mage being met. Every red side is just, oof, you just have to get rid of those two.
Yeah, because like this passive is so annoying, where even if you brought him down to 0 health, you gotta deplete his mana till it's done before you really kill him off. But you know, when Florentino's open up, yeah, your dear Nickelback singer would come right back online.
Hey man, everybody wants to be a rock star here. There's one team hovering over Zuka as of now, and I can't. If they actually go for it, I'd be pretty impressed because the only way to play Zuka is full damage Zuka, and it's so much fun to just see him pop out of the bush. It's like surprise, surprise, just casually one-shot somebody and walks away.
Yeah, like there's so many interesting ways to actually play the Pandema Master, right? Like back then, like, oh, I'm going to play a tank, and like, hey, why go for a tank when you could really just push people off easily in that sort of sense? So there's a variety of options for the side of one as they're looking to secure the Zenil, perhaps. But hey, they saw the Chi and they think, hey, this seems like a really great idea.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to actually show off Chi here this time around, but they're also going to be able to have access to Kriziks. So, okay, I'm liking this so far for the side of one team. Let's see what Flash Wolves are going to do. Oh, that skin is so sexy.
Oh yeah, the Garuda skin, if I'm not mistaken. As we are looking at another sort of the option for their side. So I'm expecting something that can dish out a little bit of damage here and there. Whereas pretty much an interesting deal. Leville could also be a even better one coming to the table.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be standard picks. There's no reason to pick Varese, especially since they're not in a pinch for heroes as well. I think the second part of the draft, they might even consider it, but we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to the bans. Caffney being hovered over and locked in for the side of one team. So they've got a composition that it's still, I would still say they are in a position of low-hanging fruit here. It's very easy to punish. They still are lacking. A couple of things. Chi can be a little flexible, but is it going to be the most efficient, which is kind of the problem right now.
Yeah, if they do play aggressively, if they're constantly be looking for team fights, then maybe it would have been a great option for them, because I can already sense that they want to secure a big wombo combo in towards the final few picks, right? So as we are looking at Ignis once again being banned out by one team.
Yeah, Elendor going to be banned out for the side of Flash Wolves. Okay, so they're making sure they don't have a jungler, but I don't know. Would Elendor make their composition work? I feel like it's still relatively squishy so far, but I think I think it's going to change in a little bit. So Rook going to be the ban coming in from one team. Flash Wolves probably have to think whether or not to get rid of an assassin. Yeah, all right. At least get rid of another mage. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah, and now for the side of Yechi, it seems like he has to get themselves something with great sustainability as well. So, you know, pain doesn't seem like it's going to be a hard thinking for them. I think that this will be a really good composition for them in terms of team fights once again. But Cricknack being opened up and, you know, they want to find that big dive over the side of Kafni, or if Krizzix goes roaming off a position, maybe he might get caught out as well.
Yeah, personally, I don't really like the Ignis ban coming in from one team. I think they kind of could have opened that up to whatever they wanted to, and then look to get the pain later if they still needed to. But we're just gonna have to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Cricknack, Raz being picked up by Flash Wolves. I think that was a very obvious pick. The Cricknack for sure. The Raz is like, you know, the flavor of the month.
So far, I do see a lot of interesting Raz plays coming from all these multiple regions. Some really want to go for that glass cannon build. Some will even go for a little bit tankier so that they could actually utilize some of his crowd controls and still dish out decent numbers in those fights. Now, one last pick for a side of one team. What's it going to be?
They're still hovering and they're still thinking about this because they could look to get like a really big tank if they wanted to. They still could look to get Malok here. It wouldn't be the worst, but is it the best thing that they can, the best option that they have to finish their puzzle piece? You know.
And of course, they are looking for Quixie. We talked about big team fight potential.
Okay.
So this seems like the only thing that perhaps could have turned things around when it comes to those big engagements against Flash Wolves, which, you know, Flash Wolves in the previous game, they didn't really have to put all themselves on the line for those kills. All they had to do was get in the position, try to zone people out, and yeah, make a couple of plays. And CC has been phenomenal on the Raz. Now that he's going to be playing it again, they really got to find ways to, you know, negate him from really causing a little bit of that sort of forced engagements in their own territories.
I think a lot of this game is going to be decided with mid priority here because, like, you can see that Flash Wolves clearly won't be able to claim mid as easy just because of Krizzix as well as Crixie, who are able to kind of affect the wave without taking too much back. On the other hand, Flash Wolves, their mid laner is going to be Raz. It's probably going to be Zaniel as well. It's probably going to be Zaniel as well. I should expect it to be to try and clear those waves as soon as possible. But Zaniel, he doesn't care. He's not looking to clear waves. He's just looking to be relevant.
There we go. Lots of cheers from the ladies for both of the teams of GCES as we're looking to actually start things off once again. And, well, you know, I'm loving the draft coming from the side of Flash Wolves, which I really felt this is something that is a little bit more safe and standard. Yeah, got those frames a little bit sideways. Doesn't really matter. But, hey, we're about to actually head in towards game 2. Would it be pretty much an equalizer coming in from one team, or would Flash Wolves make it easy 2-0?
Yeah, let's see whether Flash Wolves are still in tip-top shape because it feels like they're looking pretty good here. CC gonna walk out very early on just to see if he can get some damage. And yeah, this is the mid-priority I was kind of talking about here. There's nothing much they can really do about this. They kind of have to just give it away and try to harass as much as possible. And if they get enough of harass in, at the very least there is some form of profit. But CC, for the most part, is just going to be chilling here.
Yeah, and we're already looking at a couple of that sort of the mounting pressure coming in from the side of one team. A need to perform, which is why they really want to make sure that, hey, you want to make sure that you create a couple of all these layers from the enemy side and over the top side. Oh boy, this Florentino is really hurting Kid a whole lot.
And this is, I mean, the matchup is regardless. You're up against Florentino. He naturally has quite a bit of damage and is a pure duelist by heart. So especially for Kid on Chi, it's not exactly the very best matchup that you could get. And oh, Kid all brought down to 1 HP heroes. He's going to be able to get this no problem.
Oh boy, he's just flexing it off with that solo kill up on the top side, and mind you, this is only less than 1 minute and a half, and he's already diving on the turrets already.
Yeah, pretty much. And Kid, he's got to respect walking up into the lane. I know he wants that EXP, but he's got to be more careful. And it looks like they might be able to go for another punish. Nope. Looks like they just want to secure the Spirit Wanderer.
Exactly, and I'm really looking at how the Hake will be looking to force some sort of engagements. Once he gets his ultimate acknowledgement, he can just walk right in. But for now, you know, they are just waiting for moments of opportunity for them to just perhaps pick up from there. So with that 3-man party, they could even try to actually start off with the Abyssal Dragon, but oh boy, a little bit of contest coming in for that Spirit Sentinel.
Yeah, they want to make sure they get the Spirit Sentinel for Kato exactly how they wanted to play. But the rest of the one team here just slowly taking their time trying to do this Abyssal Dragon because they kept getting interfered with Gua, who keeps just going in and out. They don't have enough damage to kill him, even though they have so many people ready to jump on him. They got to be very, very careful because once level 4 comes by, ooh, especially for Gua, that Angelic Splendor plus... Oh, wait, hold up. Gua, he's getting punished. He's pulling through. Can they actually secure this kill? Yes, they do. That's 1. That's 2. Hake finds both targets that they were looking for, but trades under the turret. The rotation coming in from CC as well as Kato trying to save the situation. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. Getting against one more. Kevin, a little bit of sliver of health. He walks away, goes invisibles, and quickly needs the recall before he gets hit by another fireball.
Yeah, quick thinking coming from the side of Kevin because the threat is not really diluted in that sort of situation. Curtis will be headed over towards the side of Flash Wolves for now. Let's look at that engagement one more time and just see Hake coming in with the acknowledgement to just secure that 2 kills in the back for one team. But, you know, he can't really escape from the Wrath of the Tower, which eventually we did see pretty much an equal trading in that sort of situation. But of course, Flash Wolf did get that 1 kill up to the top lane much early on, resulting in 3-2.
Yep, and Kato, he can play really dangerously here if he wants to, but in a 4v3 situation, oh, they evened it out, and now the rotations have come. Ooh, Wintersmart getting pushed back in by CC. Gua gets another snap onto Kid, but that's not going to enable them to get a kill. But notice the map. Florentino has full control over topside. He's stealing away buffs. Hero is going to be a big boy all by himself if they don't stop him now. And Hake, he notices what's going on here, and now it's going to be a pretty interesting fight because now Kato is forced to rotate across the map, takes flight just to push away one team.
I honestly like the sort of the pressure caused by the side of one team, but unfortunately, Kevin really didn't have the flicker to use up in some of all these team fights, and even when he tried to engage, he was slightly off position. So that resulted in him getting picked off, and now Flash Wolves easily just goes into the enemy territories, clears off the jungle, and just resets from this point onwards. So, cover side of one team, they are putting a little bit more of that pressure on the top side. Oh, here comes the ult.
Oh, the ult! Oh, it lands onto Hake. What a call here. They suspected that they were going to be onto the Spirit Sentinel. So, you know, Laville just throws his ult real far out, manages to make a hit, connects, and allows the rest of Flash Wolf to get a free, easy kill.
That was absolutely nasty. Like, they should have seen that one coming and just let go of the Spirit Sentinel. It was not worth it to risk your life, and seems like Flash Wolves, they're heavily committing to this, and they spot out Yeshu.
Excuse me. All right. I mean, Yeshu, he already uses his sprint as well, but I don't even think, even with the second ability, he should be going down. Yep, CC cuts him off from all angles and unable to sidestep away from the fireball, just goes down straight away. Once again, Flash Wolves continue to kind of smurf a little bit here as they are looking for every opportunity to punish one team. Slow rotations, out of position. They are looking for every little thing. Tora now popping the ultimate, but Kato unable to completely one-shot thanks to the winner mark, and he has to force himself away. No free kill there in the mid lane.
Exactly, and after that sort of the extended draws coming in from mid lane as well as bottom side, Flash Wolves will be able to claim their first tower from the bot side. And, well, this is looking to be a little bit tougher for the side of one team for this point onwards, because the Kratos is being challenged. Nobody from the side of one team seems to want to put these sort of priorities over onto these objectives. And here comes trouble towards the top side.
Not this time, but Kid's still going to get dove under turret here against with Kato as well. There is no... Wait a minute. It looks like he actually survives. That Winner's Mind was able to protect him this time. And he had to expend the flicker, but unfortunately, he's going to survive with a little bit more HP.
Oh, man. Pretty much too close for comfort as well, but, well, he handled that like a champ. And now Gua's looking to actually knock Kevin up in the air. And he's being forced to flicker away. This is going to be Kato. Still busy with that tower, and now members of one seems like they are a little bit off position to really commit to that fight. Rank breaker in the hands of Kato.
Yeah, this is just going to be a much slower game for one team here. They are trying to play controlled, however, they're not getting any opportunities to actually engage, re-engage, or actually look to punish Flash Wolves here, who are consistently starting the fights, consistently initiating the picks.
And even though if one can actually get themselves maybe a pick, there's still the Angel Expander to worry about coming in from Gua, because you can just give that sort of global pressure to come right in towards some of these team fights. And, you know, that is something that one team needs to prepare for as well. Now, Flash Wolves, perfect defense coming from the mid side, but Kevin, though, he gets dropped on and instantly deleted by Kato.
Yep, this is just going to be a tough game. My Golem, once again, they have it on lock. They know the timers when their buffs are coming out. Dark Slayer, we've seen this position before, going over into the hands of Flash Wolves. And the moment they get it, those outer turrets don't look like they're going to be standing by the end of the 10th minute.
And I'm pretty sure that they're going to be dropping that Drake in towards the lane pretty soon. But now that they also have the Kratos, they can actually prepare for this one as well, as we see all four members of the side of Flash Wolves. They're making a big rotation, and they should be able to actually take as much as they can get from here.
Check out the top side. One team, it looks like they want to punish this Florentino here. And yeah, they're going all in on it. Heroes quickly jumps onto Yekyu here. But with the Angelic Splendor, it's making it so difficult to kill him on top of his ultimate as well, giving him that extra defense here. But Heroes, he survived? Unfortunately, he had ran out of his buffs there. Forces them out as they drag the fight a little too long. But look at mid lane, they're sacrificing everything. Even Tora gets hit by the multi-shots coming in from this Laville, and his passive Gua hits the backline Yekyu. But look at him, he doesn't feel a thing. This man is too much of a tank.
Yeah, and I'm looking at members of one team. They are showing signs of concern here because they can't seem to actually handle these fights as much as they can. And you just see Hero trying to 1v4 up there. Like, even the Zen will say, like, yeah, I know I'm tanky, but bro, you're gonna lose this battle right here. Hake dropping right in, and it seems like
no!
Gato secures that kill, and now Gua trying to turn that around, but there's not enough minutes. They are still protecting that Drake, and hopefully get something out of the bomb side.
Yeah, and you can see Gaduo, he's just going to be sitting here for as long as possible, but unfortunately Tura has enough damage to kill off the Drake at that percentage of its HP. But Kato, once again, might buff. They're never going to get this. One team is never going to get their own might buff.
Such a bummer, and you can look at the average levels. They're only at level 11 for now. Honestly, not too shabby, but the fact is that Kato is almost at max rank already. And, you know, Gato, he's going to be shooting more double trouble for them to really worry about from across the map. All these global elements really working wonders for inside of Flash Wolves.
Yeah, it is working way too great. The average levels is just so much higher as well, and their main carries are so big. Like, Cricknack is going to be knocking on some doors if one of their members happen to be isolated here. But Florentino can basically handle Chi single-handedly by himself. I don't think Chi can really do too much to him except just leave the lane while he's there.
Yeah, and for now, the Florentino can even solo off that Abyssal Dragon right down below, while the Kratos, for the Dark Slayer can be attempted at the same time. But Flash Wolves, they know they can actually collapse over to the top side, but even one team with that sort of a big team fight composition that they have, they don't dare to make the leap.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to be making the lead because usually they look for the pick. Oh, wait, hold up. There's a fight happening down onto the right side. Gua here getting actually caught out. He jumps away. Looks like they're still going for this dark side here. And J-League Splendor has been called. They jump on through. Kevin going to hit the chopping block here. Are they going to dive onto Hake? Gua regaining a lot of his life and the shield's able to protect him from the turret. They should be able to break top as well as get the Dark Slayer buff at the same time with another Might Golem. Flash Wolves are looking clean.
Extraordinary clean. And now for the side of Flash Wolves, I guess if they just keep up at this pace, eventually they would still get this game because they got the Kratos already on the top side. So all they have to do is set up mid lane, set up the side over the bottom, and look to just end it right there.
Yep, they continue to push mid lane in all the way, and now you can see the exact same position that they were in the previous game where they basically can't walk out of their base and they still have to deal with a continuously pushing lane with a Drake on top of everything else.
Oh boy, that's going to be a pretty huge chunk of damage over the side of Yeshu, forcing him to actually retreat to heal up. But over the mid side though, Heroes looking to actually leave right in. Got him.
Oh, it's so close!
Help! And now they're going to turn things around here. They're going to look for Kid, but look at Hake. He will delete 2 members off, and yet again, he uses his ult to retreat all the way back. Big win for the side of one team.
Huge win for the side of one team there. Kid finding an opportunity to snag off 2 picks there, using an entire combo. What does he have? He only has... Oh, he's got his Omni Arms as well. That explains how much damage he's doing.
Oh, man. But, you know, like, that's one fight being won. There's still more to come for the side of one team. The pressure is on right now, and they're looking to actually perform. And for now, they might not have a single turret at all. So how are they going to work this out? Let's check out the replay once again.
Yeah, you can already see Kid. He gets 2 people, Gadwa as well as CC, completely stacked there into the backside. And what was really great about that is that he's chunked them enough to allow Hake to secure those kills almost immediately after. So if it wasn't for Kid, honestly, Hake wouldn't be able to pick him up.
And Hake really made good use of the acknowledge where he could just easily retreat so quickly, even though he's really at a really dangerous level of health. He instantly dives all the way back, and of course, getting those 2 kills done, and jobs pretty much secured for the side of one team here to slowly get a little bit of that shape to prepare for the next fight.
Yeah, you can already see Caphane is actually starting to scale up really, really nice. They've already got 3 items on her, already fully getting fully stacked and very close to hitting her final items too. I don't know. Even though they are 8K down, I mean, he might be the person that they need to win this game.
And for now, well, I guess they really got to wait for Kid as well as Hake to really get themselves all that perfect items for them to perhaps do something later on. But this Dark Slayer is going to bite the dust, and nobody's going to be able to punish them for now.
Yeah. Dark Slayer once again into the hands of the Flash Wolves if they look to close out this game and break those high ground turrets. The only thing stopping them right now is one team, and Heroes, he's going in on Kevin. He's already popped in his ultimate onto Kevin as well. The duel, he wants the duel, but unfortunately he won't get the opportunity to secure the kill.
Yeah, Kid just backs away, and I don't know, like, one team really has given away too much of that sort of the opportunity for Flash Wolf to just get everything they need. I guess like the only guy without the full item right here is Ras, but does he really need it at this point?
Yeah, I don't even think he needs it that much. And now this enraged Abyssal Dragon. Oh, wait, hold up. Heroes, he does notice what's going on here. One team actually coming to contest this Abyssal Dragon, and they come straight on through Hake. I'm not entirely sure who got it there, but Hake goes down, and he was able to steal it away. Kevin next on the chopping block. That's going to be 4. They wanted to take a 50-50 here, but they really needed their Crixie to make that difference, to give them a place to return back home.
Honestly, if the Crixie was there, I'm not too sure whether or not they would still win the team fight, as Flash Wolves actually got themselves into that superior position and now looking to actually end the game perfectly, diving over the side of Kevin as well, trying to actually bring him down, but it's going to be Tura that gets popped and deleted as well, but he's hanging for dear life as this game will be over with Flash Wolves 2-0.
Wow, what a game. Flash Wolves still looking really, really clean there. A couple of kills being over, but that's mainly because of great play coming in from one team as well, trying to be proactive into this game. But Flash Wolves, they are looking clean.
Ooh, squeaky clean if you ask me, and they really want to go up there to meet Buriram United once again. And boy, oh boy, some of the best teams of the GCS now just playing their hearts out, and you could already tell, man, this was definitely a walk in the park for Flash Wolves.
But for the side of one team, it looks like they need to go back to the drawing board and figure certain things out, whether it be their draft or the in-game playstyle. I feel like the in-game playstyle is very slow, and even though it is sort of determined by it is affected and determined by the draft, but you know, at the end of the day, you're expecting them to make more proactive moves rather than slowly leave it away until that final 50-50 at the end.
And I definitely commend their effort too, as one team tried to actually go in for bigger plays right at the very end, but you know, I just guess Flash Wolves was too far ahead, and here comes your MVP of the matchup.
It's going to be Heroes here on that Florentino. He pulled a lot of pressure towards himself, and I was surprised because I was expecting Kriknak to be the one who goes for these big initiations with the Angelic Splendor. Somehow Florentino was like, hey, 1v4 sounds doable.
Yeah, like I was slightly worried, like they were like really putting a lot of all that sort of attention over to the top lane, where they said, okay, 4v1, I think we could take it, but Heroes just flexing on them, still dancing around, and says, okay, I think I can actually take some of all this damage. And yet again, you know, even though he did falter even later on, he bought enough time for the rest of Flash Wolves to really secure more objectives across the map.
Yeah, and really tough game coming in from one team here, but they still have many more opportunities to go. So we're going to have to wait and see whether or not they'll be able to break into that top spot. But so far, Flash Wolves, they're just going to keep going up and up and up from here.
And to me, one of the players from the side of one team, I really got to commend the effort, is Hake, constantly looking to pressurize them, trying to actually go for those picks as well as those kills. One good team fight due to the fact that Yeshu as well as Kevin managed to actually catch them out with alongside a Kit, and that definitely was the only fight that one team really tried to secure well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what was the exact issue here coming in from one team? Was it their draft, or was it their innate play style against Flash Wolves? Was their approach, should it be different?
Yeah, I think it was more on that innate approach that you were talking about, because early game, they were looking pretty good. Like, they cleared the mid lane, and they put that absolute focus towards the bottom side. Well, we ignored that 1v1 going against Heroes in the top lane. That dive, oh boy. That just shows that he really has that skill to really take on any DS lane opponents right there. But, you know, from that point onwards, where even Flash Wolves, they already read that play style, and they even implied that counter engagement right there was the bottom side, and eventually like, hey, this didn't really work out the way according to plan, and they start to fall back to their passive ways from that point onwards. Like, you talk about that mic buff.
Yeah.
Oh, they never landed their hands on it the entire game.
Yeah, I definitely think that should have been a contestation point much early on into the game. But it looks like we're going to go on a short break. So just in case you guys don't know what's going on, here's a recap of the game just in case you missed it out.
My name is Contra alongside with Gideon Q here, bringing you the AOV Premier League. As of course, we have some of the best teams across the world and regions here colliding to be the top dogs of the tournament. And now, moving in towards the next game, we'll have pretty much an exciting one as well, as we are looking at Team Flash coming up here to actually face off against Elvo.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because, you know, Flash themselves have been upsetted prior to this battle. So hopefully they're ready to actually take it to the best that they can possibly do. And we're seeing, you know, the final form of Team Flash, or what potentially could be of Team Flash, looking towards the future and especially the playoffs.
Exactly. And of course, if you guys did miss out, the first game, it was one team being defeated by Flash Wolves here. Both the teams hailing from the same region have definitely shown their stuff, but now we're heading in towards the other side of the places where, you know, you got the ASL teams who right now don't really secure too much of the points for the region, and they are halt here with another challenger to fight off against Team Flash, who, of course, were world champions. And this Group B has been the group of death, and this is the lineup for Team Flash. We got XB, Gao, Pro on the Dark lane, as well as support, as well as Ellie, Darkcoin for the ADL. And ADC will be the jungle for Team Flash.
This is a star lineup here. They cannot be taken lightly. They have won championships before, and up against them, it's going to be Team Elvo draft, consisting of Chipangs in the mid lane, VQ in the jungle, Damsky is your support, Gene and DIY is your ADL, respectively, and Razor as your Dark Slayer laner.
Well, this is going to be that David versus Goliath matchup. Let's see where not can Elvo catch up to the Titans out there. And of course, starting things off, we got the good-looking boys of Team Flash, all looking very much ready in the AOG studios, as they are pretty much well prepared. They don't seem like they're too stressed out for now. After all, this is going to be a best of 2 once again, hoping to actually secure 3 points to get themselves back in the lead.
Yes, Team Flash, the lineup they are bringing is going to be Gao, ADC, XP, Ellie, as well as Pro E for this matchup in best of 2. Remember, every point counts. If it's a 1-1, you don't get that extra point.
Oh, yeah. If it's 1-1, at least they do secure 1 pointer up there to keep their hopes alive, but nobody wants to walk away with 0 points after all. So let's see, will this be a good 3-point for the side of Team Flash to catch up with the rest, like Flash Wolves or even Buriram United? You know, it seemed like the group of death after all, and only a couple of these teams can make it out of these respective groups. So far, Group B, you know, has been showing a lot of interesting sort of pick and compositions, and later on, we do expect maybe a very different meta coming in from the ASL region as well.
And see, that's the thing, you know, especially in the earlier stages, the early stages of Group A and Group B itself. Sorry, Group A, Group B, and Group C. I would say that Group B, in particular, has some of the weirder openings because prior to this, you know, within the first week, they allowed the Florentino to kind of go through. They kind of allowed a lot of things to go through. They were avoiding a lot of the supports, and then all of a sudden, they're focusing back onto that Dark Slayer lane sometimes. And it's a constantly changing environment within Group B itself, while Group A and Group C are constantly just, top picks that are looking to go for people's throats.
That's right, and let's look at the players to watch for this entirety of this match. It's going to be XB as well as Chipang. So, well, we put that KDA aside. Of course, from the side of Elvo, they may not have won too many of these games. They've been struggling a little bit to actually adjust, but you can see that they still do pretty much decently across all these matches. So from the side of Team Flash, looking very confident there. You can see very popular picks coming in, but you know, Tulin is an interesting pick that we might see today.
Yep. Hopefully Tulin does get picked. It's part of a very he's definitely not top tier for sure, but he's definitely more flashy to watch, especially when he's securing kills.
That's right, and now seems like the 2 teams are getting ready for this best of 2 series here, getting in towards game 1. When you talk about that opening early on where, you know, getting Florentino where instead of getting it banned away, but we still do see pretty much very similar stuff across multiple groups where you don't really see that zip coming into play, and a couple more things that they just really don't want it to be left out inside of the draft.
Yeah, but Group B is definitely that exception. They're definitely continuing to experiment whatever works the best and most effectively inside of Group B, rather than just sticking purely to the meta to find if there are any other ways to kind of punish it. And that's what's very exciting about Group B as well. A lot of these guys are willing to experiment. They are risk takers.
Yeah, of course, taking risks is the name of the game here, because you saw early on when Flash Wolves were actually fighting off against one team became a lot more aggressive in towards their approach, where early game they want to actually open things up and really cause a stir at the very least and make their mark. Now, we talked about that David versus Goliath matchup. Sure, it's about to begin as Flash Wolves now eliminate Alice once again. So this is one of that constant ban that I did mention early on. You don't want that Hissifit to hit the entirety of the team and, eventually get everyone just nullified from doing anything at all.
Ooh, looks like they're going to ban out the Omen this time round. So it's going to put Elvo in an interesting position. Are they going to let Florentino through? Are they not going to let it through? Is Dirac going to get banned this time around? Elvo put in a little bit of pinch because no matter what they choose, one of the top priority picks is going over to Flash.
This is going to open up the Dirac for either side if it's not being banned out. That's why Elvo says, okay, no Dirac. We're not going to be taking too much time to take out something that's so annoying to take out. And Richter this time will be the opener for Team Flash.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Gao here. It doesn't matter what matchup he's in, he will figure out a way. And now Elvo have an opportunity to pick up something else. And I'm not sure whether they want to go open up with a flex pick, just so that Flash can look for the counters early on. But we're just gonna have to wait and see what kind of an opening Elvo wants to go with. They're really thinking about this. It's
I think that they can go for something like a Laville, where you still need an S tier AD in that sort of sense. Perhaps that would be a good option for them. Or else there's still things like the Elendor that is not being banned away yet. But, nobody really goes for that first pick Elendor anyway.
Hey, why not both, Why not both? It's like, hey, I've got nothing to hide. I might as well lock in both. But it looks like it's going to be the Cavney first, so that means that the next one is probably going to be either support or most likely going to be paired up in the Darkslayer. And this time they're going to go with Yena. Florentino was on the table, but I don't think it fits their composition. So Elvo might have something in mind here as we go in for the picks coming in for Team Flash to kind of round out their composition.
We haven't really seen too much of Xanis, but of course it's still really a good option out there. So like I did mention that that Laville could be a really good option into this matchup, but they are also hovering towards Zata. So if you could pick one, which one would you prefer in that sense?
I mean, I wouldn't either. There's just so many options on the table here. It's kind of how Team Flash what Team Flash needs to secure now so it doesn't get banned later on within the draft. So cores are going to be important. Laville, for sure, understandable. Lumber to support him, back him up, have a way to kind of re-engage or disengage from fights. And it's no matter what, that Earth Splitter is just a game changer, no matter how if used properly,
And I would certainly agree with that. A couple of all the other teams have been abusing this pick as well, knowing that he's beefy enough and you could just split people apart with the Earth Splitter. And now it's over the side of Chipangs to really go in for this. What they really want to match it up with maybe a Krizix before it gets banned away. That is definitely something to check out.
Yeah, can they actually get an aggressive support here for the side of Elvo? I mean, the jungle is still wide open. They could get the Cricknack here if they want to, but instead they lock in the Ormar as their, their tanky support. A lot of mini stuns, able to really just go ham in the early stages of the game. So, all right, that's fair, but I don't know. I think I would have liked a little bit. I would have liked to see Cricknack.
Yeah, and I definitely want to see them really getting that sort of priority as we are looking at phase 2 openings of the bans are pretty much interesting. What do you think about all these sort of bands like Kira on board?
I think it's standard here. I think the interesting one has to be Volcath for the side of Flash, because they know for a fact that Elvo, if they kind of get Ormar as well as the forecast, it just makes it like so much easier for you to run people down, and with especially with the mini suns, and you can do it on multiple people as well. So I think that's going to be their main idea. Raz going to be the next ban coming out from Elvo. Finally, Team Flash, what are they going to close this second ban phase out with?
This is interesting. I mean, there's still a couple of priorities that they can still negate. Well, there's still the Florentino, and they really think that Elvo would still go for something that's a sort of a fighter or so. But hey, they've already got Yena as well as Oman. Try not to be all too greedy on it. And anyway, so yeah, I did talk about the Kha'Zix, which can be a pretty good support as well. They haven't really secured a really solid one, but instead they want to actually take out that Malik, which, caused that global pressure as well as big team fight turnaround. So now, going with something safe here will be doing good for the side of Team Flash.
I think what Elvo have to decide now is who goes where at this point. Do they want to have like a mage in the jungle? Do they want to have the mage in lane? Do they want to have just a regular person in the jungle? Like, it's really kind of up to Elvo and what they prefer, but it looks like they're hovering over the rest as they're willing to blind pick it into whatever Flash is willing to drop down. They could drop the Ignis if they wanted to. They could drop a Zaniel if they want to, but the best part is that they don't have to worry about the Kriknak just completely destroying Caphne in the back line if they just aren't aware for half a second.
I'm liking the idea that Elvo is trying to get right here. They need somebody that can gap close in a certain way. And, if there was going to be that Earth Splitter, the Raz could still try to hold his own from all the way diving in towards the back. And hopefully he makes it out alive by then. Now, for the side of Team Flash, we can still figure out what exactly will they complete this roster with.
What options do they still go for here? I mean, they still need their mage. They still need a mage of some sort. Do they really want to play around mid priority? I mean, Leville is overall flexible, so I think right now they're trying to decide on who their jungler is supposed to be and which role it needs to fill and what type of damage. Because Darcy is viable if they really wanted to have it, but they still need a mid laner that's able to kind of clear the waves here. So Ignis has been hovered over. That's somebody who can clear the waves. Going into the jungle, Zill.
Oh my. Interesting to see that Zill really coming into the picture where, this is pretty much a very all-in sort of the lineup here. Of course, if they can open with the double trouble, get somebody caught out, and of course, Ignis could just blow somebody up alongside with Zill to really go in with the finishing touches here. So Richter shouldn't have a trouble with the side lanes. Same goes to the Lumber here with those sort of setups. So it's really up to Elvo. Can they actually find a way to take on Leville as well as Ignis here?
I don't know, because even if they go for like a very hard, heavy engaged composition, like even if they go for the Zephyrus, they have to start super early on. Like they have to get the harassment down very early on, pre-level 4, and once they hit level 4, be even more aggressive. Because with Lumbar, if you're going in hard, that Earth Splitter really hinders you from pushing forward into your team and really getting in the middle of your opponent's team and start breaking up their composition coordinatedly.
It seems like it's going to be a kill graph going into this matchup here. So they're going to take a little time to actually catch in towards those scaling potentials as well. So let's see how are they going to work out, because if I really want to compare in towards clearing speed, Zill definitely has a better clearance inside the jungle there as compared to the kill graph. But hey, not too back of that counter engagement coming from kill graph in a sort of sense. So as we can see from the side of Elvo, they are having interesting spells coming in.
Yeah, oh boy, this will be extremely interesting here, because no matter how you look at it, Earth Splitter is going to be like the biggest factor in these team fights. Kilgroth really doesn't care about it now. Of all the heroes you could possibly pick, Kilgroth just doesn't care about that Earth Splitter as much as you would think. And the rest of the team is going to have to play around that somehow. So it's either they're going to go for like back flank angles, or they're going to look for sides.
There we go. Support your favorite region as well as teams. We got the in this best of 2 matchup. I really like every single match we get all these fans as well as community celebrities here really cheering them on. And of course, we hope that keeps their spirit high as we move in towards our first game right here between the 2 teams.
Oh, already off the bat, you already noticed that Team Flash, plenty of endless cycles here from their side. The only person who doesn't have it actually is Pro E, which is kind of interesting. But overall, you just know that they're going to be constantly fighting as much as they can. And look at that wave clear. So nice coming in for Ignis.
This is the reason why most of them really go in to ban this Ignis out first, because he can handle his own lane, no problem whatsoever. And if you go in for team fights, he's just going to melt people down. Now, Razor trying to actually cut through the sides, going invisible for a little bit, and yeah, gets a little bit caught, but not too much of a big issue. As we can see, a back and forth trade coming between DIY as well as Ellie.
Yeah, but they've been doing such a really good job at just like auto spacing, making sure that even if they're like out of range, they're still making sure they're putting damage. They know that Razor's in there. Probably could probably walk up and kind of absorb a little bit of damage, but it just isn't worth the time. They're going to have control over this, and you can see them rotating towards the mid lane here. Whether or not they're going to get a catch is going to be a different story, but let's see. I mean, Zill's in the area. Ignis is just trying to like snoop out what's going on. If they can make a play happen down up on top side before the wave comes crashing in, I already think that's a win.
Yeah, that definitely would be a win. Now both junglers already hitting level 4, and Kilgruff already trying to actually shove out Gao, giving priority towards the side of John. But here comes Ellie as well as the side of Team Flash. They are looking to actually flush them out. Razor's off position, and it seems like this might just be the first blood. Here, he tries to hold on, but there's not enough damage for now.
Couldn't get the initial mark onto the Caffney to secure her with the stun there, so I can definitely understand. Very good preemptive sprint coming in from both DIY and Razor. Very important that they get the heck out of there.
Well, a little bit of fun fact right down below. The blue-red side win rate for Team Flash seems to be 50-50, so...
Doesn't matter what side they're on.
Yeah, they can win from either side. Or also lose.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It is a 50-50 for a reason. But you have to kind of hold your horses here. The Abyssal Dragon is being currently under siege, while the rest of the team here, they're not going to go in. Team Elvo is hovering over it, but they don't really want to commit too much. DIY already popping the ultimate, but now he has to run away. No choice. And you can see that First Blood Razor is going to be given over to Team Flash.
Well, really great attempt coming from the side of Elvo without Caffney really opening up the ult, trying to actually shred it down, but there's just too much of that damage put out by all these members of Team Flash. And we saw that First Blood going over the side of Ignis as well, and this isn't too much of a big concern for Team Flash for the moment, as Pro already spots out Razor. This is going to be a big catcher. Kill number 2 on the way, but they don't want to commit further. Yeah,
looks like Armar is a lot tankier than he initially thought. Even with a small shield, they only brought him down after so many abilities to 50% HP. Gao able to make it out of there. ADC is actually in the way. He could even make something happen here. He's getting quite a bit of damage. However, that tornado is not going to do anything to 2 people. It's going to split a lot of the damage apart. He just wants one isolated target.
And as we can fully see, all these bigger rotations coming in from the side of Team Elvo, trying to actually give a little bit of support towards the bottom side as the Ignis is already down below. XB looking to secure something right here.
Yep, down on bot side, they're already looking for a potential dive here. Oh, wait, Rossi looking for an opportunity to push Ellie all the way back under the turret. Winter Market being popped, but that's not going to secure them, even with the help of XB dropping fireballs onto Razor there. Nice collapse for the side of Team Elvo, especially Chipangs setting that up perfectly.
Yeah, Ellie wasn't careful enough, and they really got punished right there. And they were having a little bit of overconfidence, like, hey, we can actually set up a really good dive, possibly. But, oh boy, Chipangs really crashed right in to spoil the party.
Yep, and Gao continuing to maintain control over this top lane here. Even though Jean is a level ahead of him, he still hasn't given over a kill. Yep, and that's what we were talking about. That just isolation, the isolation, just being by yourself. you just need a couple of minions to kind of protect you, but ADC was able to set this up, and now another dive might ensue here onto Razor. Pro E is going to walk away, but XP taking quite a bit of damage coming in for Chipangs. He drops the Dragon Strike, one more Fireball, and that's going to push him away finally.
Yeah, and with that, Team Elvo loses that priority towards the Abyssal Dragon Kratos, and they also lose the tower right down below. And Cal have no problems whatsoever holding his own. Doesn't matter 1v2 or so, he could still actually...
Oh no.
There we go.
Oh, this is going to be big if they can pick up VQ here. VQ, he's already ready to take a wide. Gene instantly pops! Oh my goodness, the damage coming out of these people. Holy cow, ADC. I was not ready for that tornado to really chunk him out that hard.
Yeah, I thought it would still be somewhat of a fight. Chipangs now going in for the flicker as well, as we see DIY having to back away. Razor coming in to support the rest of the members of Elvo, and I'm not too sure, are they really standing even more up above? But they are just hoping to actually safeguard this tower, but here comes the dive.
Oh no, why didn't they stand right next to each other? Oh no, unfortunate. So unfortunate. It's going to be a double kill onto DIY as well as Razor after another sick tornado coming out of ADC.
Great dives coming in from ADC yet again, and I just love the setup coming from the rest of Team Flash as well. It's like, no problem, if you might actually get a little pressure coming from the tower, yeah, they could still rotate the damage across these members of Team Flash.
And you can already see that, you know, Elvo's slowly trying to keep into this game. VQ looking for as much farm as possible to be able to like just rush towards the backline and start hammering them down and forcing out Lumbar ultimates early. But let's watch this replay one more time here, because ADC, the way he jumps on it, the tornado specifically landed on top of him. The problem was Razor wasn't close enough to ADC to actually protect him from a couple of tornado shots, but now Razor might be hitting the chopping block here. Pro E unable to secure that kill. VQ still running. Nobody can stop him. Nobody can stop the beast here, as VQ, he doesn't care. He keeps on running forward, but ADC might deter him this time round, but it definitely deters Chipangs. He does not want to give another free kill over.
Oh, double trouble heading into the top. Oh, he gets the kill!
He snipes him!
My goodness, all the way from the base!
Oh, he predicted exactly where he would recall. Nice play coming in from Team Flash.
How could he not see that one coming? Like, we know that, okay, he's still got a couple of moves that he could dash, but oh man, all the way. That gotta be in the highlights.
That has to be a feels bad there. Has to be a feels bad from Team Elvo when they finally find some retribution in this game. Immediately gets taken away. Well, Team Flash is going to continue their onslaught here up against Team Elvo. 5K ahead of the competition so far, but they haven't really started the real clamps. Oh, Ellie, you're in trouble, my friend.
Solo inside of the river all by himself, and while the rest of the teams is pretty much split up. Not a good idea, and Razor, oh man, gets a taste of the blades.
Was that just his ultimate? Did he not use any other abilities? He brought him down to just 10%, but now ADC is in a lot of trouble. He can't really get out of this combo coming in from Gene. A little bit of a shield, but Pro E is there to save him. They didn't secure the kill, and now they flicker on forward with the splitting, making sure that they slow down Elvo from picking up anything else off of that. My goodness.
Well, thank goodness they come in for the retake to just shut down that Zill. Well, of course, he could have almost survived if there wasn't that one last member of the side of Elvo to just go into the flank. And now here comes Team Flash, VQ getting chunked out.
Yep, you weren't expecting that much damage, but this is VQ on someone like Kilgroth. He's already trying to heal as much as possible, but nah, they secure the kill there, making sure that ADC is nearby, just putting that little bit of damage just in case. Kill confirmed, but Chipangs now has fine ADC. Can he one-shot him? Nope, unfortunately he cannot. Even with the ultimate, he's bringing him only down 50% of his HP.
Yeah, for now, I guess they really gotta make sure that they farm up for yet another item before, you know, going in to crash in for some sort of team fight. But it seems like Team Flash really wants to force the issue with the Dark Slayer right here. And none of these members are actually free to go anywhere nearby. And yeah, they're about to actually spawn out the Drake somewhere to just give in that constant pressure.
Yeah, and that just means that that just means that they're going to continue to dominate this game here. Like they've really pulled this out from 5K to 6K now, and they're going to take every single objective away from Team Elvo until Team Elvo decides to contest. And this might be it. Could they contest here? They see exactly what's going on, but are they just trying to bait out a couple of ultimates coming in from Team Flash, or are they trying to determine where Richter is?
Yeah, I guess they really want to spot out Richter and punish him, and for the side of Elvo, they really got to go in to actually find some sort of the openings right there. And I'm looking at the side of Team Flash. They are trying to actually collapse upon this dive, and let's see what's going to happen right here.
Yep, they're going to continue breaking. They break the tier 2 here with the help of the Drake. Richter already rotating early on. VQ in the backline, and now they go in for the big engage. Dragon Strike quickly. Pro E, it isolates Chipangs here, but Gene, he could get into the backline. This could be his moment, and yes, he already does the damage, but he just wants to secure Ellie, but unfortunately the rest of the team is refusing to let him go. He secures Ellie, but the rest of the team cannot move anywhere forward. DIY, the next to hit the chopping block. That's going to be 4 people. Endless cycle only on Chipangs and DIY. They need to clear this out. Kafni using the ultimate as a way to try to speed up the process, but I don't think it's working out. Earth Splitter again being used. They need to break this high ground.
Oh, there goes the dive coming in from ADC. Gets that onslaught over Chipangs as well. And now DIY, 1 tick of health left, and he will be deleted as well. XP still trying to actually push members of Elvo all the way back. And Ellie now moving in towards the mid lane here. What can they do?
Nothing much they can do, honestly. Like, VQ really tried his best to take out Ellie much earlier into it, and Yena just getting locked down almost immediately after. Not an easy task to do, especially with XB with a pseudo stun as well as an ultimate that deals true damage. It is rough.
Yeah, and I'm just looking, these members of Team Flash tearing things down, and oh boy, as I speak of it, Chipangs will be the first one to fall, followed by Razor, as they will also get that turret in hand.
Ellie is just a little too big right now. XP just kiting for his life, dashing left and right. I don't think he can get exactly away from VQ unless he has Pro E's ultimate right here, right now. He drops the Dragon Strike, doesn't hit anybody. Gao waiting in the wake to get to that back line. Nope, he's going back straight into the wave.
I'm liking how Team Elvo is actually responding to some of all these sort of aggression, at the very least for Team Flash. But so far, a couple of these fights worked well, the others not so much, and the response towards the bottom side is pretty much crystal clear. It's either they just give that 1 tower away and then commit towards that high ground side, and right now they are losing out on another Dark Slayer, and maybe Gene can turn that around.
And now the tornado being used onto Gene here, but now ADC is in a lot of trouble. He instantly goes down. This could be big for Elvo. Can they actually pick off another one to kind of break the buffs? VQ tried his very best, but unfortunately he doesn't. Oh boy, that was too close.
Yeah, too close for comfort, and then there goes a little bit of flicker coming from the side of Gene. Still gets caught.
Oh no!
Ooh, too clean.
Gao's got some damage. He's got some serious threatening damage here. Elvo will be able to take a turret just for retribution's sake, but they are going to lose a high ground here in return. VQ trying his very best to kind of clear this out and sustain through all that damage. Two broken high ground turrets is not the start that you want to be at. DIY and Razor need to be in the base.
Oh yeah, and things are looking slightly bleak for the side of Team Elvo right now. 30 minutes of play, losing more and more objectives. As we can see, the gold disparity will hit about 10,000 from this point onwards, as the Drake is slowly marching up towards the top side. They just have to balance out a little bit of the wave, and Richter is already hiding by the corners here. Oh, getting spotted out by Razor.
He walks away, but the rest of the team just really can't win a lot of these fights at all. It's just they don't have enough items or enough farm. 10k behind. 9.5k behind their opponents here. Team Flash in full control. Oh, Razor, he's caught out now. And now the problem is that he can't really get out. 3 members get caught into the Earth Splitter there. Great flicker to secure that. Chipangs quickly goes invulnerable for half a second, but it's not going to be enough. Oh, he manages to survive, but 2 members, VQ and Gene, have to hold on. Gene is going to go down as well as VQ at the exact same time as Chipangs tries to turn this around, but that's going to be a GG. Well played. It's Team Flash take game 1.
Oh, this was such a great opener coming in for game number 1. Team Flash secures this one in the bag. But hey, valiant effort coming from the side of the ASL to really try to win a couple of these fights. But this proves to be way too tough to handle, as they will have one game down in this sort of match. But hey, I really like the playstyle that we're looking at from the side of Team Elvo. At the very least, you can see they have clear ideas, especially over on towards that Darkslayer side of the collapse, where if they really work hand in hand with that combo, they can really take members of Team Flash apart.
Yep, and man, it's just really hard to. It's hard to see because, you know, especially with especially for Team Elvo, what could they have done in that situation to do a little to get better results, you know? And I think Team Flash just really curbed out their main weapons very nicely, playing the map a little bit more, avoiding the big ticket guns, especially at their power spikes, and then looking for them afterwards where they kind of settle down. But the MVP of this game, definitely, you have to give it to him. It's Pro E with 11.1 MVP points. This man and his ultimates has been game-changing.
Yeah, I just love to see him go at it and work out those Earth Splitter and really cause a lot of all this disturbance when it comes down to big team fight potentials that supposed to be opened up by the side of Elvo. He definitely stopped them on their tracks, and now we're looking into some of the stats right here. Of course, ADT comes in with some really great engagement dives at the same time. Every one of these members of Team Flash has been holding their own, while Elvo, every single time they go into the fight, there's only one man that they're looking for, and that's Ellie.
Yep. And oh boy, it's tough to catch him as well. Pro E just did such a good job. It's ridiculous. It really is. And Gao as well. I think we missed a lot of Gao's actions because he goes towards the back line almost straight away every single time, just because we keep focusing on Ellie getting chased down by Chipengs or VQ or something like that, as they're just trying to pick him off.
Yeah, time and time again they try to do so, but there's many also multiple threats that are coming in from the side of Team Flash. You got Gao to worry about. What about the Zill that really knows how to break people down? Like, it was just paper. It's like, okay, chop chop, that's it.
So many people got one shot, and that's kind of the issue there. And you know, they want to stick together and close together, but somehow they get separated because of that one ultimate. And I think it was just a tough game to kind of play around, because you don't want to split your composition, you don't want to split your team too far, but it was rough.
Yeah, and that sort of burst of damage really is something that they really have to deal with. They eventually did get enough of those sort of defensive items to, you know, just tune down the damage a little bit. But some of these fights I felt was not managed well enough for the side of Team Elvo. If they were a little bit more proactive, as well as keeping a relative distance between these positions that they can actually get some good secures, then they shouldn't have too much of a trouble to deal with some of all these forced fights coming in from the side of Team Flash, especially the one at the bottom side.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys have missed out on the match, don't know what we're talking about, here are some of the highlights just in case you missed it. And we're already back with the AOV Premier League here with me, getting Q as well as Contra. Back with game 2 here against two of these competitors, Team Flash versus Elvo. And Elvo so far down by a game, but hopefully going over to blue side might actually give them an advantage within the draft.
Yeah, and I'm looking at them really having a sort of game plan that kind of work in some of all these skirmishes, but they really got to tidy things up for a little bit when they are facing against the world champions that we're talking about here. Team Flash having a really solid draft, and we see so many great layers. We saw that double trouble really flying across the map to chase in for that final blow, and oh boy, who'd have thought that would actually hit over on the side of Chipeng?
Oh yeah, that's just, I mean, it's just an unfortunate circumstance and an unfortunate situation that Team Flash set up absolutely perfectly. So kudos to them here. But I think Elvo at this point in time, they really need the win. They really need the wins to boost up their standings. And if they can take at least one win away from the previous world champions, I think that's already a big deal in itself. So, you know, let's see whether or not blue side's going to give them that much of an edge. We're just going to have to hope and see that whether they can do better here. Because, I mean, first pick is really, really powerful. You can get a priority S-tier pick for any one of the roles if you just start on blue side. And that's just naturally given to you.
Yeah, and they definitely need to actually get what's really important. Like we do see some of all these big sort of picks there that has always been banned out. So who knows, if they do try to open up some options right there, they can get that one in hand. Like we talked about the Zip, we talked about Alice, but yet again, you know, nobody really goes in for first pick Alice all too much on the blue side. If you do have it open.
Yeah, and I think they could open things up here, but I think Alice is just one of the things you need to get rid of regardless. I'm thinking of an opening where you can actually get the Alice within second rotation, but it's tough when you're on blue side. It really, really is.
Now, of course, even if you go in with that sort of pick, because the enemy side would have immediately think of some ways to actually counter the Alice at a certain point, but they're going to be starting things off with an Omen ban. Wise pick for the DS lane at the very least, and now we're going to be looking at same old, no Zip at all, and what's going to be the next one on the ban list?
I mean, they could easily ban out. They could follow what the predecessors have been doing so far and banning out Alice within blue side rotation, you know? We're just going to have to see whether Elvo wants to kind of stick with that, or do they have something else in mind to actually deal with Flash here?
Well, I do think that one ban that they should consider is the D-Rack, or just leave it out in the open, try to get it for themselves, as we also have things like Alandur that has been banned out a couple of times, but usually not the first wave of bans particularly, more towards the second wave itself. So there goes Florentino already out there, as this is a very good time to be really going for that D-Rack.
They could go for it if they wanted to. Or, I mean, you know, the Darkslayer lane, Richter is looking pretty good here. Only because, like, you're not going to be able to get, like, a strong split pushing laner that has a lot of utility, that scales decently well into the game. And then you have Roxy just to kind of brick wall that, but she doesn't bring a lot to team fights besides her ultimate and the way she steps. And it's very slow, consistent damage. Not like Richter, who's able to get into the backline, really burst out the prime targets and still kind of walk away with it alive.
Exactly, and this is where Gene heard your call and say, why not just go in for that sort of pick? Which means that Team Flash will have access to that D-Rack. So, and even trade, if I must say, but D-Rack is one of that pesky mage that, you know, could be a little bit tanky in this sort of situations where you don't really know when exactly is it over to really chunk every single thing down out of him.
Yep. And we're just going to have to wait and see what's their next pick on top of the D-Rack. It looks like it's going to be the Cafney as well. Cafney has been picked up super early on for a lot of these teams. It is the go-to marksman if you need that late game potential.
Now back towards the side of Elvo. Seems like they're kicked back and relaxed, playing with the chair a little bit. We can look at some of the top win rates out there. Seems like there's a very high percentage on that Ibnif right there, which we saw early on today. Flash was up for that sort of a pick, And down the list, it's interesting to see things like, Nakrov and stuff.
Yeah, it is nice to see overall, but the stats are always going to be ever changing. For an example, Ping used to be much higher, and now it's going to be 68 and 68% percentile, which is it can keep going downhill from here on out. But the last 4 seconds coming in for Elvo, who's pushing it a little thin here. VQ, what's it gonna be? Ooh, a Zaniel on top of a Raz. Okay, all right.
Wow, offering quite a lot of damage as well as, tankiness in between where you could really juggle things out. So Team Flash says, okay, we're going to go for a safe pick right here. Teamy coming in with a Bia Bro. Imagine it's already so hard to take down the Direct and you just revive him out of nowhere. Oh man, this is definitely something that nobody from the side of Elvo is looking for to face.
Yeah. It's like Macroth going to be the first ban in the second phase here. Looks like junglers are going to be a high priority. I mean, Volk has been banned out for the side of Flash as well. So they understand that they are looking for these, strong engagers for the side of Elvo. Elvo could pick up Kriknak, but however, no matter what, they want something to kind of combo the Zaniel with,
I would certainly agree. And early on, we saw that sort of combination coming in from the side of Flash, where they had wait, it was not Flash. In the previous run, it was Flash Wolves, where they took the Zaniel, and they also have a couple more global elements to get along the side. So this is definitely something that they can look forward to if they can actually get their hands with, something that could just throw out that double trouble. But Lubu, we haven't seen Lubu in the past couple of games. It's great to actually see him right here on the match 62.
And we don't really know, because Lubo is great because we don't really know where he's going to be as of yet. Is he going to be in the jungle or is he going to be in the Dark Slayer lane? We're not entirely sure. I'm guessing that he's going into the Dark Slayer lane, and that they're going to choose. They're probably going to go for a marksman type jungler here. But let's see what's going to be the final picks coming in from Elvo. They're hovering over Hayate and Zephys, both of which I think are really, really good.
I don't see why not. A lot of heavy AD composition, if you ask me, coming in from the side of Elvo. So I don't know if they really get something that's extremely tanky, stack those armor in. It could be something that's very, very much tough for Elvo to deal with. But of course, I'm not talking about Kilgraf with those lifesteal as well as armor sort of build, because that eventually would still fall in the end of the day. But now, over on the side of Team Flash, Elendor seems to be the next best thing available. That is pretty much the perfect way to actually start things off with. So, what are your thoughts of the entire composition of Team Flash right here?
Not great, because it's going to be dependent on Timmy being able to use his ultimate, because this Angelic Splendor can only target one person, so that means whoever's going in, which is either the Zephys, the Richter, the Hayate even sometimes goes in, uses his ult, tries to get out. It is tough to take them out, especially with an Angelic Splendor coming in on top of them. So we're just going to have to see who can kind of utilize their ultimates a little bit better, and don't forget about Dirac. He is always going to be a problem.
Yeah, I definitely think that Direct will still be a little bit of that sort of lifeline for the side of Team Flash. So for the side of Elvo, they're looking to dive LD time in, time out, of course. So especially with the addition of Zanu, that'll be interesting. Go ISL as well as AOG, as we are looking at Team Elvo here taking on Team Flash. Now, this sort of composition so far has been relatively very interesting for both sides, but what I'm really excited to see is where or not will Hayate shine in this matchup.
He should be able to. However, the scariest thing is just Cafney's late game. That added range is ridiculous. ridiculous. And Hayate isn't exactly the longest range auto attacker in general as well. But you can see that both sides here, you can see Elvo has sort of changed up the tactics. They want to be a bit more aggressive. They want to be able to control this mid lane as much as possible and look to push to the side.
Oh my, look at the damage over XB. That's just one rotation of the spell coming out there and already taken out pretty much instantly. So members inside of Elvo going in for a rotation to the bot side. Turning as they go, things are pretty much great for the side of Elvo as compared to game the one where we see, yeah, we'll stick to the lanes, we'll clear it out. And now Team Flash going to set up shop.
I see. Looks like Elvo looking pretty hard in. They get the initial engagement. Angelic Spender does come through. ADC still alive. VQ ain't able to secure it. But ADC, he goes back in. The backline is now in trouble as XB is trying to pull through. Razor tries to jump on out, but just at the last second goes down. They've already lost 2 members, Chipangs as well as Razor, as they got split apart. And Team Flash take this fight away.
This is a very greedy play coming from the side of Elvo, where they are not really in the best of position to really fight, and yet they still commit to enter the enemy territory, which I felt was questionable. Now they paid a price with all these camps being removed.
Now stealing jungle camps away like it's absolutely nothing. Mid lane, no control. But it looks like after they push, they are rotating up towards to see what they can take away from their enemies to get closer. But Gene, if he can get the solo kill onto Gao, oh, his retribute, he would have been able to retribute himself.
Yeah, and here comes a little bit of that sort of the replay here in the AOV Premier League, where you can see that Gene definitely wants to secure perhaps a kill over onto the side of Proe, but hey, they were all dispersed all across, which I don't think is wise for Elvo to really follow up. So half of the guys were saying, hey, we really got to back away, and they really went in too deep, and same goes to this situation. There goes VQ.
Every single time, can Chipangs actually get onto Ellie here? And I think that's a scary thing because everyone is making sure, even XB is making sure they're standing in front, making to secure the area and to push Chipangs away.
Chipangs now hoping that XB will overextend. It doesn't seem to be the case. Well, he's going to be slowly farming this one up. While members of the side of Team Flash, they're still going in for a dive.
Oh, yes, they are. And Chipang's still alive with a decent amount of health. Left, but the Abyssal Dragon is going to get stolen away as Richter did not rotate down towards the bottom side of the map.
And clean plays coming from the side of Team Flash so far. As we look at members of Team Flash having the bot laners really raking up all these gold as they go.
Yeah, they are. And Chipangs, he spots them and is trying to kind of push them away. I mean, Ellie does have to kind of maintain that distance because out of all the people she doesn't want to get caught by, it's definitely Zephys.
So far, the Zephys is having a little bit of that struggle as well in the early phases of the game. Not really great news as he got caught up in the top side early on, and now Razor getting shoved all the way back towards the bot lane. But Proe will not be caught out with that sort of dash.
Yep, they just have to kind of hold their ground for now until they make a mistake because Flash just refuses to walk out any further than necessary. It's better than getting caught, you know? But Chipangs, he does initially catch onto XB. He pushes back into the team, but does he survive? Yes, he takes one fireball. He still has plenty of life to survive.
And so far, it's going to be ADC here, recommitting, engaging over side of Chipangs, taking a 1v2. Look at the damage being chunked out there. He might be able to actually secure the kill against VQ. He tries to dash away, and it seems like the Angelic Spender comes in at the right time. 1 versus 3 is the way to go, and ADC will fall.
Yep, and it's not over yet. VQ, he still manages to walk away with a little bit of them. Gao, he wants him. He gets the initial knockup, but he's able to spell them through all that damage. Gao did not have enough.
That is absolutely ridiculous. This Lubu should have actually fought in that scenario.
I definitely felt like he should have died. And now ADC is going to be putting some damage up onto the top side, pushing down on bot side. LEXP and Pro E are trying to hurt him. Yes, they do pick up DIY. Can they pick up Razor? Yes, they do. Chipangs now has his eyes set on his prize. Ellie has to sidestep that, no problem whatsoever, and quickly greed out for a jungle camp.
Oh man, seems like members of Team Flash, they really want Chippings really badly. They are trying to actually shove them off of the bottom side of the map. And now that they're slightly low, it's better for them to reset and, of course, wait for the health to be back up, get some more items, and recommit into this engagement.
Yes, but oh man, they're still going at each other. And now one more finally
Ellie
is going to go. Chippings is going to go. Ellie finally dies as well. It's going to be a 1-for-1. It still seems pretty good, but at least Jean has got a mid push here.
Yeah, so far it's going to be countered by the Elder. Just comes right back in. DIY, Razor, as well as VQ will try to actually get this extra goal for the side of Team Elvo. And they will get that one in the hand, but 2 versus 1 up the top side. Seems like Jean will be able to hold on for now.
Yep. Now mid lane, they just have to keep on trying. VQ, he's taking quite a bit of damage here. Oh no, a little bit more and he's going to be dead, but he quickly regenerates his health. He's buying some time. He's going to take some autos, but he misses the initial engage onto ADC. Would he have killed him? Maybe, but even on top side, they get another dive move in motion.
It's very interesting to note that Richter is not really at this full health when he goes in for that 1v2 engagement. Almost brings both of them down as well. But of course, good attempt whatsoever. Now Jean trying to take away that Sage Golem will fall in the hands of Pro as well as AD here. While over on the side of Elvo, they really want to trade back in terms of objectives.
They're holding still. ADC gets into the back of Jean, and Jean is on the run. ADC is going to chase him down bit by bit. He is getting slower and slower, and eventually dead.
Not a good sign at all. Chippings is going to be the next one to fall. And this contest is resulting to nothing much for the side of Elvo as they also loses out on Razor.
So that how much is that? 2 for what? 4? 2 for 3?
For 3 seems like it.
Yeah. And then, oh dear, wait, once again, no! He gets solo killed by ADC once more. He still uses his Winter Mark just to deny aggro from the turret as well. He's going to be able to break this with no problem whatsoever. Walk away as quickly as possible. But then notice, the rest of Team Flash will start coming out of the wordworks and look for a way to break your tower.
And they will be able to do so. So far, Team Flash is playing even cleaner than they were back in game number 1. And here comes Kathleen opening up with the element, carries off the wave, and of course Elvo needs to defend this for now, but the came towards the mid side as well.
Razor got really close there. He nearly clipped one of them there, and now XP as well as Pro E and Ellie are just controlling the sideways. XP and ADC walk on in here. Can they make something happen? Yes, they do. They take out Jean with no problems whatsoever.
Now it seems like they want to catch over to Chippings. He is relatively squishy, and now here comes the dive coming from ADC. Tries to clip over the side of DIY, and they will still be alive, but they will have to lose out on these third defense.
Yep. Now they're going to continue on pushing on through here. High ground. ADC a bit of out of position. Quickly gets over the wall and dashes back out of it. Going in and out really well. They break a high ground tower, and now they are on the run for more. They want to be able to pick every single high ground tower that there is available.
And that's going to be the last high ground tower left from the top side here. Elvo, it's do or die here, while ADC constantly giving that pressure, going in and out of the fight, while BQ is trying to actually disturb the back line. And this dive will commence with Pro E soaking all the damage, as they will only lose Jean in the process.
Yep, still a pretty good defense coming in from Team Elvo, no matter how I look at it. Jean just not having the funnest of games.
Yeah. So far, every single place that he goes, he's just getting interrupted. And this is one of the occasions where you see the Richter really not getting anything much out of this game itself. You can see that he's 0-3. Single towards the side of Chippings. Immediately when he tries to go in for engages, every member of Team Flash just focused down on that Ras.
And now this might be, I thought this was going to be one of those times where they focus on that one guy again, just like you said before. And now you can see Lubu, he's going to be showing up in the mid lane. He sees 2, he rotates around. Flash want this Dragon Lord, and they have to set it up somehow.
Oh boy, it seems like instantly they deleted off DIY, and now collapsing over onto its Razor as well. 3 members straight knocked out from that sort of situation, and this is going to be a free Dark Slayer in the back.
Yeah, this is not looking good as Team Flash looking to close this game out with the Dark Slayer buff as well. He all 4 auto attacks already took out a quarter of his HP. What can we imagine as Gene tries jumping in and make something happen? Razor the next to start jumping in, but they really should have let Chipangs actually jump in so they can use the Angelic Splendor. Another one wants to go into the chopping block, instantly dies. Oh boy, Chipangs, he already took out one, unable to finish off the second one, but he bought just enough time for VQ and Chipangs to try and turn this around.
Well, they can actually get a little bit more out of this situation. The minions are sure, and they can get the kills as they wish, and secures a 2-0 victory against Team Alvo.
Ooh.
Flash reigns supreme.
Team Flash going to be securing themselves another 3 points for themselves as they won 2-0 against their counterparts here. Congratulations. Really nicely done, boys.
So far looking amazing, and they still prove to the world that they still have it in the bag. And the ASL side, this time getting shoved to a corner where they really couldn't respond to this sort of the aggressive manner that Team Flash has been proactively looking for, especially in that initial stage where, you know, that one fight by the river really was so costly.
It really, really was. And I'm just thinking of it over and over and over again. There were some interesting fights from Elvo, but it looks like Team Flash just have a better, like the way they team fight is just so much better. They know the priorities, they know how to kind of like break off. But let's look at a most valuable player on the Dirok, the man himself, XB.
Oh man, 17 assists, and this guy, not even once did he fall. I told you about this where it's so hard to even take him off in the first place. Imagine with the Ultimate Bia Bro on top of him. He will never fall, and the amount of damage that he put out in this game is quite insane at the same time.
Yeah, he really, really pushes it with a lot of things he does. But hey, to be fair, they are Team Flash. They can get away with it if they're able to pull it off. But yeah, coming into these endgame stats here, it is just, wow, an absolute slaughter. 6-23 in favor of Team Flash. And oh boy, Elvo needs some catching up to do.
Yeah, and I think that with them suffering another defeat, it's going to be so hard for them to really climb back to the middle of the pack because, you know, there are all these teams already catching so many points weeks after weeks, and they don't have many more games left to play.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Ross has an 83.3% rotation. For rotation, wait, where is it? Oh yes, participation over the entirety of these fights, and I would have expected him to be less apparent in these bigger team fights, only because he's really good at picking off the backline here, like looking for ADC or looking for Ellie in these cases.
And you know, like Ellie so far has been keeping himself relatively safe, and you know he's only 0.1% to getting the MVP as well. You know, like you can see, after all, it dishes out one big chunk of damage alongside with Ellie, which, you know, for the side of Elvo, it's a little bit too much to handle in that sort of scenario. But hey, now that we've got this sort of match concluded, 2-0 victory, I guess, is this something that you expected out of the champions of the world?
Honestly, I definitely expected a performance like that, but I definitely I didn't expect Elvo to be as proactive as they were. You know, definitely a lot of it didn't succeed out, and it looks kind of bad. But at least the ideation is there, and they are able to try and work on something. Because it's easier to work on execution rather than coming up with a lot of these ideas on how to kind of take them on. And I think Elvo had somewhat of a decent idea.
Yeah, and especially in game number 1, they really put up some great fights. And not gonna lie, at some points they really made Team Flash look as if some parts were a little bit shaky.
Yeah, a little flawed for sure. And I think, you know, that's where Team Flash really excels at. Just taking fights and kind of breaking it into components so they know how to dissect it.
Exactly. And of course, with that being said, we congratulate Team Flash for securing 3 points in the bag. And of course, with that being said, we're going to bring you the highlights here as we'll go for a short break and we'll head in towards the next matchup. Thank you for joining us here at the Arena Valor Premier League. My name is Contra. Alongside with me is Gideon Q, and we are bringing you our final matchup of this evening, and it's going to be FAP TV versus the likes of Bazaar Gaming. So today we're finally getting the RPL on board, and we've already seen glory for the side of AOG's region, where we just witnessed Team Flash taking a convincing 2-0 victory in the early match against Team Elvo. That definitely resulted in a 2-0. As we can currently see today's schedule, we're already down to our very final matchup there. If you guys missed out, we had one team here who suffered a defeat against Flash Wolves, and just as I said, Team Flash won 2-0 against Team Elvo.
You know, I forgot to mention this much earlier on. Isn't it crazy? It's already been at least 60 games, 60 best of twos all the way up till now. We're at our 63rd one. It's a crazy amount of games going on, but we have to prepare because this is going to be the last one for today. Ooh, FTV against Bazaar Gaming. What are some of your thoughts here?
Well, I definitely think that this is going to be the highlight of the day as we are having FTV here. We got Hero, Buck for mid lane, so we'll see which one will be playing out. We also got Noah in the jungle, Kenji coming in, as well as R-Star, Jiro in the Darkslayer lane. We also got TA as well as Cyrus. Lots of men for FAP TV. So this is going to throw some curveballs at Bazaar Gaming.
Yeah, you know, an 8-man lineup definitely can switch it up, but they are up against Bazaar Gaming with their jungler DCB, their Darkslayer Marky, their support Teox, as well as their ADLs, BCPE, as QQ in the mid lane. And this team is really a team to watch out for because they aren't going to give up games as easily. Ooh, it's gonna honestly be a really tough one because FTV is one of those teams where it's like they've got so many oddballs that it's really tough to pinch them, to pinch each and every one of them whenever they start switching out into their substitutes. So it really changes team dynamic overall.
Yeah, but generally, I think when it comes to best of two, you want to keep momentum if you really do win some games. So if they can actually pick up game one, it will be definitely great for them. But this is going to be their starting five. It's going to be Jiro, King, Buck, Aura, as well as TA. Now, we talk about 8-man roster, you know, like now that they figured out, okay, it's these sort of players that will be playing out for today. Who knows, that sort of the composition that they will bring to the table will be very much different from the ones previously played out from those different matches throughout the past few days.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, they can keep changing that dynamic up. While this team is going, the subs can be constantly looking over the games and kind of giving their information to their counterparts of their roles to be like, hey, this is what you can do. This is some of the bad habits your opponents have because they don't have that many subs. So therefore, you can start memorizing these bad habits and punish them. Do they have them for the side of Bazaar Gaming? And better yet, who do you think is more likely to take this game away between the two?
Well, it's really tough to tell because these two are titans in their respective regions. And now we're looking at Bazaar Gaming. We have Marky, DCB, QQ, Eras, as well as Teox. So out of the 6, of course, these are the 5s that we'll be playing for today. I'm thinking that Bazaar Gaming so far has been playing pretty well in this Group B matchup here. So I do think that it's going to be an equivalent fight. I want to say there's a potential for a 1-1 game coming from both teams.
Well, I don't know how to feel about that because this entire day, these top tier teams, when they're clearly better than the other, it's going to be a clean 2-0 and they've been looking really sharp overall. But these are the players to watch. Coming in from Zargame, it's going to be Marky, and coming in from FTV, it's going to be Ara, both with overall average MVP. They play 2 different roles, mind you that, so the damage per minute is definitely going to look different here. But the overall KDA, surprisingly enough, Marky is able to top that over Ara.
Yeah, and I'm really looking at the huge damage disparity because Ara here has been playing phenomenally on some key picks here like the Hayate or even Kavni. So he's been one of the top 80 carries out there in this tournament of Group B. But, you know, yeah, you gotta pick off some of the things in between your teeth and making sure that they shine bright for the camera.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure you're looking great all the time. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to go overall. Oh, happy birthday, Marky. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize how young Marky was. And we've seen this guy play much earlier in his years as well as a professional player. So it can only get better for him.
Yeah, this 15-year-old prodigy who just turned, well, 15, of course. Happy birthday to him. And imagine this, 14 years old, you've already been playing at the top of the RPL so far, and he's definitely that player that has really put in those numbers. And this is why there's so many fans for the side of Bazaar Gaming. Like, it gives a lot of all these hope for all these young talents. Like, hey, maybe I will be the next one out there to be playing in the ROV Pro League. And yeah, all the coaches definitely giving themselves that sort of a push to get as far as they can.
Hopefully that birthday spirit is going to carry his team through this here. Bazaar Gaming are going to need those points if they want to maintain their top dominant position overall in their Group B standings. And I can't wait to see what the update is going to look like in a little bit. But first, business first.
And I really do love, like, everyone's on them perfect matching masses that they do put on. So make sure you guys, of course, follow suit as your pro teams are definitely keeping caution with all these sort of social distancing as well as cleanliness intact, so that you guys could prevent from, you know, getting yourself that COVID-19 virus in that sort of case. So Omen's going to be the first band coming out from the side of FAP TV, as they will start on the blue side. Meanwhile, Bazaar's turn to actually go in for the bands.
Yep, and I think it's going to be generally around the same. If they're going to get rid of the Omen, I expect Alice to be on the chopping block as well, Zip along with... Oh, wow! Okay, so this is already going to be a very different game, so that's already a +1.
Yes, I really do love what I'm seeing right now, but, you know, they still don't want to see any Zip. Maybe they want to see the Alice as well, so let's see what Bazaar will ban out. Oh my, even the Alice is open up.
Yeah, Alice is wide open as well. Dirac did not get chopped this time around, so it really depends on the teams coming in and what they feel most comfortable with. And Dirac opening, coming in from FTV, do they really want this? And yes, they are confident in getting that Dirac, and yet he is one of those stable laners, can clear really, really easily. He just needs to be by himself, give him some time, and he will eventually start pumping in the damage. However, Darkslayer lane is kind of up in the air. Florentino can be picked up by the side of Bazaar Gaming, and they can also pick up another important piece of their puzzle, which could be their jungler. They could straight away pick up an Elendor. They could straight away pick in a Velen, whichever they kind of want to go and lean towards. Oh,
wow! Both Florentino as well as Quixie.
That's also possible.
Interesting ideation coming from the side of Bazaar Gaming. I do think that they got big plans in store for us here to face off against FAP TV. And now over the side of King as well as Bug, I'm thinking that Kafni is definitely the good solid pick that they can go for.
Yep.
And Lumber to match things off with.
Oh, this is looking real nice. This is looking real nice. It's coming together for the side of FTV. They have a great way to disengage out of it if Crixie wants to start pushing on forward. So I'm expecting Bazaar Gaming to get a little bit more aggressive because, again, that Earth Splitter, there's not a lot of answers to it except either flicker out of it, power through it, or somehow look for a different angle to catch people off guard.
And the ROV side's turn to go in for a pick, and I did see a lot of great Laville pick plays coming in throughout the entirety of the day. So usually we see, okay, Kafni snatched up, I'll go for the next best option right there. And honestly, I prefer the Laville as compared to Kafni, because sometimes Kafni, you really have to worry too much about your position when you connect your element, where you will be slowed down for a very significant amount when you channel it. Meanwhile, Laville like, okay, I'm going to throw out that ult, and if my double trouble lands, yes, I'm going to pick up that kill. So, and towards the phase 2, we see Krizix not going to be seeing the daylight, because if you do combo it with the Crixie, oh boy, it's going to be a really big chunk of huge crowd control as well as damage being put out.
Yeah, nobody really likes doing that. So, FTV thinking ahead of us, like, all right, we got to get rid of the big stuff here. Bazaar Gaming also understand that, hey, Yena is one of those matchups that actually go pretty decent against Florentino. And the same goes for Roxy, so they've completely destroyed that lane. However, Malok is still on the table. So at least there is that. Malok can have some pretty decent, has a pretty decent matchup overall. Doesn't really need to do too much except just sort of harass, clear the waves as much as they can. But it looks like they're going to stick with the Volcat. They do not want to get run down.
And safe sort of ban coming in for the Zaniel. But like you said, this opened things up for Malik to come right in. So should they actually pick up the Malik here? Because it'll be a very interesting composition on which lanes each one of these guys will actually go.
Yeah, and I think, in this particular position, looking for your support pick first isn't too bad. You have everything else. You can kind of figure out where the jungle is going to be. Having the Malok is definitely a plus. Does it suit your composition? Yes, you have options to kind of follow up. So, you Earth Splitter, if they don't do it at the right time, you can punish.
And I'm definitely seeing that Bazaar Gaming is looking to hit in towards those big fights with those heavy initiation, especially when the shock drops right in. Now, FabTV, how do they really equalize on some of these sort of aggressive maneuvers? Because they can choose something that can scale really well, and Kira is definitely that sort of pick that went through. A couple of bans have been put on towards Kira, and now finally we will see that coming into play. Instead of going for things like Raz, Superman is a little bit more of a tankier option where they could still go in with those Iron Fists to really chunk things out, as well as, just flying across the map to look for picks.
Yeah, and I think in this particular situation where it's kind of tough to say, it's kind of tough to say like Roxy is going to be the best position. At least Superman, he kind of fills that position that Roxy does, where you're looking not really to interact with your laner, you're looking to harass them as much as they can. And I think a great bully is Superman in the earlier stages of the game. He clears waves decently fast. He still has some great utility coming into these fights, especially when you need him. Oh no, they got past the Lumbar ultimate. We don't have a lot of things left. Superman can kind of compensate for it.
So far, this is the best sort of a drafting ideologies coming in from both ends, from what I'm looking at, as they definitely have clear win conditions for each side. Now, they're going to be leading the side with Nakrov heading in towards this matchup. So we also saw a couple of bans heading towards the side of Nakrov, and finally, we will see some pretty high-level gameplay from both ends. But, I'm looking forward to see what Kira's going to bring in towards this game.
Yeah, and that's going to be really, really important because we don't see Kira that often because it always hits the ban hammer so many times. So this time around, let's see how much damage FTV can actually pull off with Kira inside the jungle here, especially now that Bazaar Gaming has access to someone like Nakrov, who's naturally going to be super fast, extra mobile, looking for those quick, easy assassinations on soft, squishy targets.
And we're about to get this show on the road here for match number one between these two teams. So far, both really have extremely solid draft coming in for this sort of match. So I can't really take sides right here. Let's see what these guys have to say. All right, I do see quite some familiar faces coming from the side of RPL. One of my friends right there, Sun Waltz. Yeah, the last time I've been to Thailand, I did hung out with him quite a fair bit. Of course, cheering on for the side of Bazaar Gaming, while at FabTV, of course, got lots of people really supporting their back. You see them in restaurants and like places, everywhere you go. These guys are stars by right back in their respective regions.
Yep, and you can already see just the beauty of Superman here, just blazing through it straight away into the mid lane. But Teox, he's already sniffed it out. He's got a good idea that Superman has already reached the lane a lot faster. than he should have. And this is going to be a quick, easy clear for them in the mid lane as they slowly rotate back into their own. But Superman's got to be a little bit careful. He's looking for information, and yes, he's going straight into the Mind Buff to kind of disrupt it. He wants to reset it, but unfortunately, he didn't reset it. That was a really good idea, and now DCB is going to be running him down. Marky, he wants to be part of this. Like, come on, man. DCB, he's just going to keep chasing Jiro all the way around. There's nothing he can do because of that red buff. That immediate slow is going to be first blood. Great idea coming in for Jiro, just a little too late.
I felt like not only he wants to push it aside, it felt like he really wanted to land the killing blow to take that buff away. And, you know, yeah, great effort, but that is going to be halting him quite a significant amount because he's still level 1. Marky now will have the advantage in lane.
Yeah, and all because of that small mistake, it's going to give a huge advantage down on this side of the map, down bot side. Not to mention that, you know, Kafni is significantly chunked out as well. She has been taking quite a beating from Eris as well as Teox down on the bottom side of the map. Just, oof. Really, really hard to really walk up here. But now Kira needs to start getting these clears much quicker. She won't be able to hit level 4 immediately because of the buff steal, but it doesn't mean that it's going to slow her down from hitting that level 4. It's going to be the Spirit Sentinel that's going to push her over the edge.
King already at it, almost in level 4. Will secure debuff as well as the levels as intended. Florentino is going on at 1v1 against Jiro, which I really feel he shouldn't be taking too much damage. Hey, he's already equalized with that level 3, but Marky's going to hit level 4 much sooner than the Superman will. But as for Bazaar, look at how quickly they attempt this Abyssal Dragon.
Yep, they're doing it so quick because a lot of priority is going over to the top side of the map. They take that, and now the call is being made. They're coming back for their buff. They're willing to sacrifice it. So proactive play coming in from FTV, understanding that Bazaar Gaming want to go for that neutral objective. So instead, they're looking to put themselves in a position to kind of catch up here. But all level 4s all around here. Jiro, though, he can't afford to die right here. And this is the beauty of Superman Frost Breath, and he's just all using his ultimate to get his passive charges off to allow him to just dash, dash, dash away from the danger.
I just love how he's just flexing it like, oh, you think you can kill me? Yeah, I'll move across these walls. How about that? But, you know, FAP TV's getting prepared for another initiation coming in from the side of Teox as well as BB. Oh boy, was that snatch away?
No, it wasn't the snatch away. Luckily, they were able to kind of equalize the EXP loss that happened much earlier into the game. So, you know, mistakes have been forgiven here. DCB, once again, he's going to be clearing out his jungle for his respawn. Sorry, what do they call it? They call it the camp respawn locations.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much it. As we are looking at King, well, already getting spotted out by QQ. While TA is just stopping from members of the Bazaars to actually come in from the corners of the river. And for now, there's not many jungle camps left available, so they just really got to wait out for those waves and eventually look to actually punish whoever comes through the mid lane here, coming from the side of FTV.
Oh, it looks like they're not going to be some sneaky boys, but they will have mid priority here. But what are they going to do with this priority? Now that they're rotating, you can see Crixie going down to the bot side. I don't know what they're looking to achieve here. Dirac also has is sort of expecting something to happen down on bot side, so they are just trying to cover their ground here. You know, Kira is hanging around top side just in case a dive is going on, because they don't know exactly where Bazaar Gaming is going to be.
And for now, Bazaar is going to be securing another Sentinel in the hand, just making sure that they get more objectives than to look for those kills. There's also the craters up above where they could solely reach towards it, but members of FAP TV, they are looking to actually counter members of the side of Bazaar, but instead move straight towards the side of Kratos. This will be pretty much in the back pretty easily.
Yeah, it looks like they're not even going to contest it whatsoever, even though they were looking like they're in position to do so. So to me, it was kind of weird. Were they not looking to, you know, force some kind of ultimates, look for some kind of pressure, maybe even a pick? But KNG gotta be careful. Oh, Earth Split does actually land onto QQ. A lot of all big ticket ultimates coming out for the side of FTV. This might be looking good for Bizarre to go for like an invade of some sort. DCB going in and out of the fight, dodging some key abilities, not taking too much damage. They're trying to clear that wave down on bot side, but can they break that? They break tier 1. Aura's in a lot of trouble. That's gonna be a free kill here coming in from Bizarre Gaming, who want to force this situation, but Bizarre Gaming have their eyes set on the right objectives.
I just love how clean that was for the side of Bizarre Gaming, and now looking to engage over the side of Zero as well. For overextension coming in, and there's no way Superman can survive all those blows.
Yep, too much of an overextension, and now Teox could actually continue to push here. He doesn't have his ultimate just yet, so he couldn't zone them out completely. Oh, Kenji! He can't take that much damage from Ares, of all people.
Yeah, and I felt like they definitely overestimated a little bit of that, but Ara trying to actually bring down Ares for a little bit. Bizarre just taking what they want inside of the enemy side, and boy oh boy, they are just slowly leaping ahead in goal.
Yeah, they are just maintaining everything. They're doing a huge lane swap. They see Superman down on the bot side. Florentino has already made a move. They want to break this tier 1 down by top. Mid's going to get a first initial push, but I don't think it's going to matter with just the speed of which Bizarre Gaming are just securing these objectives across the map.
And slowly but surely, Bizarre Gaming will just scale out of control. Their late game is looking very, very solid. And for the side of FabTV, if they don't do much here, they will eventually lose out. But here goes Jiro down and ground. Mark is going to secure 1 kill.
He's going to get another one if he lands it. Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Marky is just, I don't know what it is. Is it his birthday or what? Because they are just handing him presents time and time again. The shot coming into the back line here. Aura trying to make something happen, but Bug loses 50% of his HP in one swipe from Teox. And Kenji has no way to really get in on it. Bug, again, can't walk up.
Wow, this game so explosive. The level of tempo of play that Bizarre's playing at is just too hard for FabTV to keep up for now, but you know, maybe if they could just turn one good fight, it would be pretty much even now. But as it stands, I'm looking at the goal. Well, Ares is still pretty poor as an ADC, as he's 2 levels below Ares.
Oh, look, Bizarre Gaming. Do they steal it? No, they don't. Kenji is able to secure that. Oh, Double Trouble does land on TA, but however, he is able to kind of just walk away. He doesn't really care too much about it. This might be the fight. Bug's in trouble, but luckily, he still did have to win this fight. Jiro pushing them into the back. They found the fight that they were looking for. Ares still in trouble under the turret. Great flank coming in from Jiro.
I just love what I saw. Jiro, multiple times, he just knocked them in towards that tower range. And wow, finally a great team fight for the side of FabTV. But they only get 2 out of that scenario. They still need to look for more.
Yep, and that's the beauty of Superman here, who just has some great utilities for the team if he gets into the back line. Just keep your eyes on where Superman was, and he pushes them all in. I think he could have gotten greedy, gone for a little bit more with either Teox or somebody else by flying around. But you know, securing the kills that are important is going to be good enough here.
And to combo that along with the rains of bullets that Cafney could just chunk out, that was pretty much a great sight for Sorais.
Yep, and now Ares, once again, he's like, nah, I'm not going to let that happen again. You already ruined my KDA. I better just keep it healthy, keep it clean.
Yeah, from this point onwards, you know, like maybe they might want to rely on the birthday boy to carry a little bit. Well, of course, now Bizarre Gaming just waiting for the next Abyssal Dragon to just come out, and they also have the option of the Dark Slayer. Here comes Teox.
Yeah, that did like no damage. That did like no damage to Lombard. Lombard didn't even care. He's just like, oh, cool. Oh, wait, what's happening down just a little bit lower of the Dark Slayer? But the Dark Slayer is going to be secure, but it looks like Teox is going to continue to like zone away Kenji, so he can't really go for like these dirty steals by just walking through the walls and eventually just hopping over the wall. Hey, steals it, walks off.
Just yoink that one away. And as for now, there's going to be 3 dragons in a row. Oh, make that 4 in the back, as DCB looking to solo this one without any sort of hassles. And even more buffs still being intact.
You know, in the downtime when neutral objectives are a thing, that's where FTV can actually just take their own jungle for once. If not, Bazaar Gaming is just like, all right, sure, fine, it's okay. It's no big deal. It's not like the gold is going to make that much of a difference, or the buff as well in certain situations. But let's just see how they kind of play this out. They're splitting the map significantly. They're getting a huge slow push there. Even the Drake is going to coming a little late with a wave, which I think it's still going to be fine. But hey, Florentino just needs to kind of maintain pressure down on this side of the map. They see two people there. They realize this is only a 3v4. This is in our favor.
Oh, okay. Seems like Kang Ji is getting dove upon. This is where Jiro comes into the rescue. Superman doesn't want to see any fallen allies as we have Kang. Oh, man. He just flunked that one out, but Marky's getting pushed all the way back. One more target hit won't be able to hurt him all too much, but there's still the Drake over topside pushing, and eventually the big catch coming from that Earth Splitter right there as they fall back.
Yep, they just have to, and that's what why the Earth Splitter is just so good. Whatever you need it to do, it does it. Doesn't need to wave clear? Sure, no problem. Use the ult. Do you need to disengage? Do you need to re-engage? Ult, no problem.
Yeah, and I just love how Bazaar Gaming actually times out that Drake so perfectly. He puts it in between the current coming wave as well as the upcoming wave, so that they can have that constant pressure up towards the top side. Even up to now, that wave is still being shoved.
Yeah, and it's looking still pretty good so far here. Can they actually come back from this deficit, FTV? If they drag this out longer, I think they might be able to. But Bazaar Gaming, they need to really start pushing their leads here more than anything else.
But I really do wonder, who could they actually target down first? Because Ares, although you can reach out for him, it's going to cost quite a lot of effort to actually set that one up for the side of FAP TV. And as for Bazaar, there's just so many of all these strong units coming in, and here comes Jiro.
Yep, big shot. Oh, Earth Splitter already going to be cutting off the opposite side, so they have to take the longer way to get around to the rest of the team. It's going to be one pick, and they already lose a high ground tower in response. Will they lose one more here? They need to make sure that cannon doesn't go down, but it does. And unfortunately, they have to try to hold the ground. Teox is already slowly moving back. DCB trying to put in some damage. Does he make it over the wall? Yes, he does. He still has another dash, but keep your eye on Ares. He is the main damage dealer of this team. So if he's able to get close enough to start chipping away at the big tanks, I think it's going to look a lot more different.
Yeah, and at least they managed to still defend a little bit more coming from the side of FAP TV. Yes, they did lose Superman. Doesn't really matter. He is a pure tank after all, as we judge into its build. All these sort of shields all being brought up online. But here comes second DS already up available.
This is going to be a very important DS here because now FTV, it's going to mean life or death for them here. Oh, double trouble actually lands onto Ara, and now DCB just running in and trunking him out. It's going to be a pure one-shot there with Marky to help him out this time now. He's going to go for Ken G. Can he actually run away from this? Yes, they can. They trade. However, the Endless Cycle brings them back to life, and that's going to buy them a little bit of time. However, if they lose another fight, it's not going to be looking good. Those respawn timers will threaten them.
Yeah, and the same goes to this Dark Slayer buff as well, going in the hands of Bazaar Gaming once more. And this is definitely going to hurt FAP TV a whole lot. You know, I was expecting a very even game coming from both ends, but Bazaar Gaming was too clinical in all their approaches, and they definitely don't really show too many signs of that flaw heading in towards this battle. But FAP TV, they did try again with those setups coming from the side of Jiro, but members of Bazaar, they know what to expect.
Yeah, and now Bazaar, they have a good idea of how to actually deal with the composition here. Jiro already walks in with the He didn't use his ultimate, luckily, so that's going to be a very big game changer because he's going to constantly be able to push people into walls or push people into his own team when he has that. So he just has to kind of wait for the right time to get into the back. But Bazaar Gaming, they just have to hold on because that bottom high ground turret is going to go. Earth Splitter's already coming. Jiro's already made the ultimate, and Ares is so out of position. He is trying to survive as long as possible. He goes down. He's walking back to base. The double trouble is coming from downtown. Oh. Will it actually hit? It completely misses, but FTV have turned this around just enough. Even with the Slayer, it was not enough to break their spirits.
Well, at least they cleared up all that potential threat there as they secure that winning fight right across. But, you know, there's still a lot more to think about here for the side of FAP TV. They finally found an opening, especially when Jiro really pushes everybody way back in towards the core. at the very least, the core managed to actually chip so much of that damage without any sort of minions for Bazaar Gaming to work with, and hence they just turned that big fight around thanks to that Lumber as well.
I think regardless, now they have this constant pushing lanes on all sides. There's nothing much that FTV can really do. Even if they walk away from this Abyssal Dragon, FTV have to go back and start defending this push coming in from all sides. Abyssal Dragon, who's going to take it? Whoa! Oh, Lumbar is able to pick it up. Cafney in the back line. Cafney just trunking out the front. Teox trying to buy as much time as possible for the team to kind of group together as Jiro has split them apart. Jiro still with the ultimate, still active, running for his life. Marky, he knows what he wants. He's dashing on forward. He's already picked up one. Jiro survives with a little bit of health, and unfortunately, Bug able to secure the kills. And now DCB just cleans up the rest of the shop. Kenji and Jiro, can they make this defense? DCB goes down, shot from Teox, and now QQ in the backline. He doesn't care. He pops the ultimate, and they walk on through and break all the way to the end.
What an exciting fight that was, and we saw a big steal coming from the side of FabTV, but it did not mean that they secured much out of that lot, because Bazaar, they punished them, they turned things around, and of course, wiped everyone clean to secure this first match victory.
But you have to give it to FTV. Jiro, he's been looking for great opportunities to kind of isolate Eras by himself, and he does it. He somehow is able to yank 2 people into the team, secure that team fight, win it for his team, and then go back to the defense.
And really, all hats off to that Superman right there to make a couple of plays all across the map. And I really do look forward for even more heading in towards game number 2. What exactly was the problem for the side of FabTV? Because to me, it's just Bazaar Gaming having too many pressure up in the early games, and they actually wiped a lot of all these resources out. But mid-game onwards, we see some great plays coming across everyone. But for this matchup itself, the MVP will definitely go to the Malik.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, I think the Earthsplitter ultimate has been used defensively a little too often. I think it should have been used a little bit more proactively against their team. However, Crixie is just such a problem because she drops that ultimate and they're kind of baiting each other to use those big ticket ultimates. So I think that was just, it was just too difficult, and I think the draft was kind of favored to Bazaar Gaming overall. So I think with that in mind, I think they need to start changing up the draft, start taking away tools from Bazaar Gaming and start initiating their own. Kenji actually doing a significantly good job, especially when he's playing with the Lumbar. He's able to set up the fights, and make things easy for Ara to kind of clean them up.
Yeah, and for me, I think that they are lacking in terms of some big burst department, because most of them are actually building quite a number of defensive items, especially for TA as well as Jiro. So they really heavily rely a lot on Kang as well in a certain scenario where, yes, he did make a couple of plays, but DCB, he really dishes so much out there that, you know, Ara, with that one big fight that happened towards the top side where he got caught up with that double trouble, it really was very costly for the side of FabTV. And now, of course, sets him on the back foot a little bit. So next game, I'm expecting maybe a completely different draft coming from the side of FabTV.
I don't even. I don't know where they can go with this. I'm not entirely sure here, because already that the draft was weird enough with the way the bans were going. A lot of the DS laners were taken out super quick. Could they have gone for the Roxy to make it easier for themselves? Because that Florentino started to come a little too much to handle at the end of the game. But that's just a couple of thoughts. But in case you guys have missed out on the game and just tuned in now, don't worry, we've got some of the highlights for you. And welcome back, everybody, to the Arena of Valor Premier League here. Once again, we're coming in to the final game of today of this best of two between Bizarre Gaming and FTV so far. Man, it is just explosive from the side of Bizarre Gaming, but FTV have put up a really, really good fight so far.
Yeah, nothing but respect for both of these teams that really put in their A game, especially for the side of FAP-TV. I gotta say that they really put on a couple of big surprises in some of these team fights. And of course, Bizarre Gaming, as usual, clinical as always, just like how they usually play in the ROV Pro League. They usually do calculate their risk before heading in towards some of these battles. So far, you know, like the first couple of minutes, there was nothing particularly too flashy, but they know how to capitalize on certain mistakes where, you know, that Zero with Superman, he tried to steal the buff away, and of course, one kill, you got the bite buff as well, and from that point onwards, they try to set things up slowly, head into the jungle, slowly clear everything until they get a couple of leads by opening up with the towers.
And I don't know if they're going to get the same kind of lead again this time round, but let's just wait and see. I don't know, because so far, Birthday Boy Marky here has just been playing phenomenally overall. Like, he has really been, really been nailing it on the head.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that he ends up getting the MVP by the end of it all. As we can see, most of all these players from the side of FAP-TV, they know they need to secure points. This is one of the final few moments there that they can possibly get it in the bag.
Yeah, and you know, I think they really have to think about what they're going to do. They need a clear idea of the game plan, especially in the early game, when it's going to be someone as aggressive as Bizarre Gaming, especially with the composition they had last time here. Hopefully the draft is going to go a little bit better and in their favor, because they had the tools last game to do it. However, they weren't able to be proactive with it, using it, especially the Lumbar Ultimate, the Earth Splitter, as a way to kind of disengage the team from really, really tough fights.
And now, of course, they really need to plan on their strategy on how they're going to be managing their picks and bans here, because we see something that's relatively very different from the rest of the games that has been played out for today, where, you know, they really get a couple of these key picks, but, you know, to use it effectively in terms of those combos, a little bit more tricky than expected.
For sure, and it looks like the bans are going to be following along the same lines as what we saw in Game 1. It's going to be the Zip, it's going to be the Richter. I'm expecting the Omen to get banned as well.
Perhaps so, and you know, maybe they should actually remove the Alice if they really want to go for that. But in Game 1, nobody actually picked up the Alice, even though it was being left out in the open. So Bizarre seems like they really want to keep all those varieties on the table for Marquis to pick with that opening sort of pickup.
Yeah, and Pena is going to be the next to hit the chopping block. FTV, what else is there? Oh, I mean, do they really want to give Florentino over again to Marky? I don't know, because he's looking pretty warmed up on it already. So if I was doing the picks and bans, I'd be like, I mean, should I?
Should've, would've, could've, but yes, Florentino will be up for grabs this time around. I think it should be a no-brainer right here to actually take it in the bag, because, you know, talk about Florentino, we got quite a decent win rates right there, although in the top picks, it's not really being displayed for now, where there's still other sort of the threats that, you know, is out there for them. Like, you talk about the Omen, that's one thing that they can consider as well.
Yeah, it's really up to personal preference. Some people are more comfortable with the Omen, who's got some strong pushing power. Ooh, but it looks like they want to go do a Krizzix opening, which kind of gives away that they want to do something towards the early game, something more aggressive, wombo combo-y style. And FTV, it gives quite a decent amount of information to FTV this time around. However, will they be able to go for it? No. Looks like they switched over back to Florentino. Can't say no to the Birthday Boy.
Yeah, like he says, I still want to bring up my A game here and just want to finish this game with style, at the very least, with all these dash and slash. So far for Jiro as well as King, I'm expecting something more different than the Superman, as he'll be going in for that Omen. Wise choice.
Yeah, wise choice. I think it's still a pretty decent matchup overall. Omen can sort of hold his own as long as he doesn't make too much mechanical errors, too many micro mistakes in the lane itself. Like, you know, gets a little too overeager, or forgets about level 2, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I would say that Omen, although he's very dominant in the lane, if you overextend and you get punished by the jungler, that's where, you know, you give too much to your enemy side. So with Elendor being opened up, they say it's way too hard to pass as well. Gonna be grabbing it in the hands of Kenji.
So many things on the table. Does Bizarre Gaming still want to go for the Kha'Zix this time round here? They want to have a support option and then look to pick up one of their ADCs, or, you know, pose a completely different question to kind of separate the bands a little bit more.
Well, seems like they'll bring out the Crixie instead of the Kha'Zix. And well, to combo that off, they will have Laville to come on board at the same time, where last game they played a really good Laville round, so they would still opt to have those long-range snipes of the double trouble.
Oh yeah, they got to keep their eyes off of that. And it looks like they're going to go with maybe Raz, maybe Crixie. It really depends. I mean, Crixie is good because, like, even though you don't know what the mid lane matchup is going to be, she naturally brings the team together because of her ultimate, and you kind of want to play around that as much as you can. So going in with the Crixie blind is still an absolutely okay pick. Right now, there's nobody supporting her, and we're going to have to wait and see whether or not we're going to actually get that support or that, you know, combo material. FTV, with their final pick here, what's it going to be?
Well, I would say that Buck still can actually go in for certain sort of picks, such as the Kafni, but instead they said, hey, we need that playmaking Lumber that we have back in game number 1, so that they can actually set up some of these fights way better on, and of course, to slow down Crixie on some of all these team fights, so that they can find a way to fall back. So, great choice out there for the side of FAP TV, or what they look to change up in the last second. We're hoping to see this Lumber for sure, but let's talk about Phase 2 already, because Phase 2, we do expect quite a number of bans, but hey, seems like they did spot out, oh, you wanted a Kha'Zix? You're not going to get it.
The worst part is that they took Lumbar for themselves as well, so they're also denying it from Bizarre Gaming, so that kind of sucks. But now Bizarre Gaming getting rid of the Irie, making sure that it's like, oh, we're making sure we're taking away, you know, flexible jungles, flexible people, but instead they're gonna go with they're gonna get rid of the Sun. No problem whatsoever. I guess they're kind of like just opening up the bans at this point.
Yeah, I guess Wukong is definitely something that, yeah, well, is a little bit of off the meta for a little bit, but it's not too bad. Now we're looking at the Superman ban coming through, which caused a whole lot of problem for the side of Bizarre in a couple of fights.
Yeah, I definitely see the respect coming out of there a little bit. But you know what? It wasn't a fun matchup to play with. Might as well get rid of it overall.
Now, it seems like Ara will finish off with a Kira ban. Not too shabby, because from the past game, they did secure their hands on it. They didn't really get too many big sort of picks as much as they want to, so they will switch things up. And it seems like they'll still consider the Zenil ban, and they will lock it right in.
Yeah, I think it's much better because they've already kind of shown that, like, the composition is going to be more team fight oriented. So even if they do decide to go for the Kira, it's not necessarily complementary to what the composition wants to do, especially with the Florentino as well. So you don't want to kind of just like continuously look for ganks. You kind of want to end up within the 4 at some point of time. It looks like the Yena is going to be the ban coming out for Bizarre from Bizarre Gaming, just to make sure that they don't exactly have the greatest matchup against the Florentino, because Omen can kind of just do his own thing for the most part. I personally would have liked the Ignis ban because I was expecting it from the side of FTV, but honestly, feels good for FTV. It's like, oh, you don't want to ban it out? Sure, I can pick up pick up the Ignis for myself. But instead, they want to go for the Raw, someone a little bit more with a little bit more lane harass, a little bit more burst that they were lacking from last game.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a burstier version of the Superman that they had, which they could still go in with the explosive KO, kick somebody back, knock somebody out, and Nakrov will be the key pick here to be headed in towards the jungle, perhaps, for the side of Bizarre Gaming. And this is looking relatively solid. I'm liking what I see. But, you know, if you want to compare that Raz as well as Ignis, I honestly would prefer the Ignis because, first of all, you actually fare better in the lane against the Crixie, and in terms of team fights, when it's really drawn out or so, especially when Omen locks somebody down, it just will be a perfect, easy chain for the side of the Ignis to burst people down. But Raz is going to be there for that high risk, high reward play, while we're finally seeing the Ibn back into action.
It's going to be Yipneth as well as the Nightcrawler. They were hovering over Alice for a second. I was like, come on, you've got some better options there. And Yipneth is the one. He is going to be the combo starter for the rest of the team. He can also disengage them as well and kind of, combo in with the Crixie. Is like, oh, get the slow. Crixie just runs on through any slow target just to burn them down.
Now, of course, Hayate being the very final pick for the side of FAP TV. So how is this going to go for the side of FAP TV? Because I'm looking at a very high burst potential coming from them.
It's looking good. I don't particularly know how it's going to go, to be perfectly honest. This is going to be interesting. A lot of it's going to be some execution for sure for the side of FTV to defend themselves, because Bazaar Gaming, it's pretty straightforward what they want to do. They want to be in your face, wombo combo, win the fight, and then let Nacroth kind of finish off whoever he can catch. FTV, on the other hand, have to somehow disengage from the fight, deal with the Nacroth, and then re-engage into the fight to win it.
So far, we're going to be heading in towards this battle here because FAP TV really wants this final point. There we go. The final fight of the evening here at Bazaar Gaming is now 1-up against FAP TV. And FAP TV looking to steal that 1 point back in their side. Can this possibly be it for FAP TV to really take on Bazaar? Because Bazaar is looking hot.
They could be looking hot. However, are they going to be as consistent as they were? Because in Game 1, there was an opportunity for FTV to turn this around. So hopefully they don't get put in the exact same position as in Game 1, and FTV can really take it away. Ooh, Bazaar Gaming getting a bit of harass coming in from Bug, as well as TA. Oof.
Punches landed over the Eris time and time again. That's 3 punches in a row.
Yep, already bringing him down to 50% HP. He just has to keep up with the harass, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Can G just hit level 2, and this is going to be looking real bad really quickly. Deox trying to run for his life. He doesn't have anywhere to kind of camp around and regenerate his health. He knows he's dead. He's going to tell his team, I'm out of here. I'm gonna die. Just make the best of it.
Yeah, and I definitely think that this is such a better start for the side of FAP TV. Now they're definitely bringing in the pain. They're doing exactly what Bazaar did to them back in Game 1. Yep, get the Bite Golem as well. Can Taeyox challenge? I don't think he should risk his life for it, but oh boy. He definitely knows no fear.
He really, really doesn't there. And now they're going to rotate back out into safety. However, TA is taking quite a bit of damage. Oh, wow, the knockup was precise. There was no time to react to that.
Yeah, just by the edge of the wall as well. As now we are looking at FAP TV members respecting that. Falls back, reset, goes back into the jungle, and Omen will return back into the lane. And now business as usual for all the other players out there as they're looking for pretty much the next available objectives right there. And Sentinel possibly being focused down by the rest of FAP TV.
Just keep your eyes here, because keep your eyes open here, because again, they kind of opened up vertical jungling, and now mid lane might be under siege. They're forced to rotate backwards, back into their lanes, back into the respective jungles, as topside is getting heavily pushed in. They're trying to play the map as much as possible, but now the Sage buff, Sage buff should be right here. Sage Golem should be still here. Yep, DCB has been caught for half a second. A really good read coming in from FTV as the rest of the team slowly rotate in. Bazaar, can they make this work? Marquis is trying to hold his ground here. However, he's only level 3. And yes, luckily the ultimate coming in from Laville will stop this entire war.
Yeah, they did force Marquis to actually open up the sprint as well. And the birthday boy definitely knows how to put up a little bit of the flare movements all across to keep himself relatively safe while this now being brought down to 50%. This will be easily in the hands of Bazaar Gaming.
Is Teox not going to tank for this? And I guess not. But yeah, they eventually secure the Abyssal Dragon at the end with minimal life loss. And now they're going to go back into their lanes. Kenji is getting big.
Yeah, and fun fact right down below, Bazaar Gaming is the team lowest average 8 in the APL. 17 is their average, what we're talking about. And man, What were you doing when you're 17 years old?
Not playing this game enough, apparently. Jeez.
I mean, even when I was 13, or I wouldn't be on this big stages here representing my country. And I gotta say, I feel proud for players like Marky.
My goodness, yeah. These guys really are prodigies in their own right. They're really, really good at the game, and it's making me uncomfortable at this point. But now that they're going to continue to start pushing up and gaining control and getting an idea of who and what is in the jungle of the bottom side, they're going to slowly rotate up towards the top to make sure they cut off rotational pass. This is it. This is pretty huge. They find Bug. They already opened up the ultimate. QQ dies instantaneously here with an explosive KO and an Earth Splitter. Jiro quickly going with the Winter Smite, trying to make it out from Yepnet's ultimate, but it's not enough. They are still losing members for the side of FTV. One more to hit the death box, and yes, they do. Marky able to help secure that kill.
Wow, that blow for blow coming in from the side of Bazaar Gaming, looking eager to trade back, although they did lose one member, was such a dire effort to really even the score lines there. And Bazaar Gaming still pulls one back and now looking for the dive against Ara. 4 versus 1, you gotta make a move. And he's still looking to remove all these minions off, but hey, they gotta give this one out because there's the next wave over here. Buck trying to go in for a little bit of setup here, but this is going to be too much for them to take while they can trade for the topside tower.
I don't think they can even secure the topside tower here. Laville already used this ultimate. Marky, he sees the one. He's going to go for the 1v2. Screw it. He's going to go in. He jumps all right on top of Jiro. Can they get enough damage onto this tower? Yes, they can. It looks like Marky didn't want to sacrifice or make the sacrifice to at least try and clear out that wave at the very end there. He knows he doesn't have the pushing power, so he'd rather just sacrifice it than lose his life.
This game is going very much at a stalemate process because both are having the same exact plan coming in. Oh, yay!
Oh, the moves! Look at him dance around them, man!
Wow, DCB. I didn't really expect him to be able to dodge a couple of all those skill shots there. But hey, I'm glad he's still pretty much well in the life. And now, FabTV getting a little bit agitated here where, you know, a couple of all these maneuvers looking very well and solid, but hey, it was so hard to catch on to these youngsters of Bazaar Gaming.
Yes, it was. Okay, looks like QQ just used her ultimate there. The thought that Bug was getting a little too close for comfort, preemptively uses her ult just in case he was trying to set up for an explosive KO. But yeah, you can see both Talks as well as the enemy support from FTV just taking their time, strolling together as a unit by themselves, TA and Teox.
Oh boy, TA is setting up shop. Teox did manage to spot him out. Forces him to hop right back in towards turret range while there's going to be a full turno to deal with as FabTV sends both King as well as Jiro right down below.
Yep, and Teox, he's taking quite a bit of damage here. He has to forcefully use his ultimate. QQ is there just in case he needs a little bit more reassurance that he'll live.
And of course, him being the force of nature that he is, he shouldn't be worried all too much now that he's going up to actually give a little bit of a helping hand towards the side of Ares. We're having double trouble sending towards some odd direction, hoping to connect towards the side of Raz, but now that they know that he's losing his ult, they're looking to punish.
Yep, once again, Teox using his ultimate, regenerates his life, walks away with Ares, making sure he is supporting him till the end of time. However, notice that DCP and Marky have been putting such a significant push. Jiro already goes straight into lane, ulting Marky into place. He is locked down. He cannot get out of this. Winter's Mark already trying, but again, that's just way too many people.
Well, they gotta stop bullying the birthday boy for a little bit longer. Yeah, he's just 15 years old, mind you. And as we look in towards members of Bazaar Gaming, yep, they did overextend. So, of course, it's punishable offense coming into AOV. And for FabTV, they're just waiting for a couple of all these opportunities here and nearing the Dark Slayer pit. But, you know, Bazaar Gaming can actually answer to this.
Not as much as you would like, because they did bait out some pretty big ultimates. Both Ares and QQ, they don't have their ultimates, and now they're trying to turn the tides here. I don't know how long until they have their ultimates back up, but they need it soon if they want to win this fight. Kenji putting some damage into Teox, who's going to stay in his ult form just to protect himself. Ooh, but TA with a flicker and Earth Splitter going to buy, completely cut off the chase routes to get to Kenji.
Yeah, and seems like Marky really wants to take off Jiro as well as Buck. A very daring attempt to actually cut through from the back. And with that sort of the Drake falling in the hands of Fab TV, I think this is going to be a very good move for them to actually pop it in towards the side lanes.
Yeah, just has to just buy more time here, FTV. But I think, honestly, this is a very, very even game. Both sides are being very proactive, and they have the exact same idea. It's very much based around their ultimate, so the more they can bait it out, the better. But with the Dark Slayer buff on top of that, you know, that dragon, to siege down turrets, it's going to be tough. And I don't know what FTV's plan is, because the way they are rotating is kind of weird. Are they going to split 1, 2, and 2? Or are they just going to eventually just conglomerate together with Drake to kind of break those turrets?
I think that they really want to escort the Drake or just pull the Florentina aside so that they can get the Kratos, eventually look to gather up for that sort of the team fight that they have been looking forward to. So now with that Drake right there, Marky's going to be letting this one go, but there's going to be a catch over side of Buck as he dashes backwards. So for us, it's definitely not the target that they've been looking for, as that will be the first layer of turret from the bottom side to be crushed.
Oh, this is going to be an impossible situation to answer to, as they've got all waves pushing. They kind of spread them really, really thin there, with a lot of their members still down onto this bottom side. Both Jiro and Bug are doing a great job clearing the waves, pressuring that mid, while Tier 2 is going down. Marky is going straight into the fight.
And it seems like Taeox will be buying enough time as well. Bazaar Gaming looking to actually take off this Drake and looking for another re-engagement. King going for that chase as well, as they know that this is not looking good. Top side has been prioritized by the side of Fab TV as well. And this is great macro plays coming in from the side of Fab TV.
Yeah, they didn't want to go mid-bottom. They instead went top and bottom to really force out Bazaar Gaming while they maintain mid-priority there. So really well played coming into FTV, as now they are the ones with the 3K goal lead, and Bazaar is on the back foot.
Bazaar Gaming so far just holding on, looking for a couple of mistakes coming in from the side of Fab TV, and hopefully from that point onwards they can turn the tides back into their favor here. So the double trouble not really connecting at all. They've been whiffing it off unnecessarily, and especially when you have the Dark Slayer coming up online, they really need to prepare for this one. They cannot afford to lose another big Drake here.
Yep, they cannot. And you can see FTV Ara, he's already rotating. They're making the call that they don't want to do the Dark Slayer right now. They want to maintain control and then look to make something happen. But Bazaar Gaming are on a completely different wavelength. They've gotten control over that top side. However, it's getting all pushed in. This might be a good setup for FTV to actually go onto the Dark Slayer here, because they will show 2 members down both bottom and top.
And now they did get that catch over the side of Taeox. Immediately uses his ultimate so that he can buy time, but they catch over the side of Eris with the Earth Splitter. Now crashing Taeox as well.
This is such a good ultimate. Such a good ultimate coming in from QQ. She is in such a great place and in complete safety while she's just hanging around in that camp.
Yeah, now they are looking to secure the mid side, but oh my goodness me, they instantly go in for those kills and they deleted off 2 members off. And of course, this actually forces them to use the Endless to actually come back up online.
Yep, the Endless Cycle is really, really useful here. And for situations like this, especially when there's such a big objective on the map, you just kind of have to use it in this situation. Ultimate coming in from LaVille, not going to work out, but the same thing can be said about this Lumbar, who already used the Earth Splitter to kind of zone away the rest of the team. FTV's Kenji very efficiently also takes away the Kratos.
I'm not too sure whether it's the pressure or what. Yep, Buck gets caught out.
Wow.
That's probably a consolation prize that they can get.
I suppose at least they have one less person to deal with who has the buff. And oh, Marky just cannot deal with the amount of damage Ara is able to pump out here. Jiro's going to lock down Taeox as the rest of the team slowly pushes up. He can't use his ultimate to protect this turret anymore. Not this time, Taeox.
Oh boy, and now we are looking at members of Fab TV. Going to be running it down over the mid side as well, with the Drake coming in towards the bot. They're sending the Necroft to deal with the situation, but over the top side, you still have the Omen as well as the Raz to secure even more of these sort of the trades. But in terms of kills, things might look even, but in objectives, things are slowly crumbling for the side of Bazaar, and there goes.
Oh my goodness, the damage coming out of this Hayate is absolutely insane. Ara finally goes down. He wasn't able to get on out perfectly. Marky is just going absolutely wild onto Kenji. There's no way for him to actually make it out. Marky plays that absolutely perfectly.
I gotta say, this looks closer than anyone thought it would be, and I'm just loving it so far. Bazaar responded so well. Started off with Chaos opening his ultimate, and of course, Quixie and the rest of them, they tried to follow suit, and eventually they punish Ara at the end of it all alongside with King. And this also opens things up. The double trouble this time hits over in the tank. Not something that they're looking for, but hey, that's definitely a start because Aras needs to actually keep up with the accuracy.
Yeah, they do. And I don't know, the goal just doesn't matter too much as of right now. Most people, like especially the carries, are getting very, very ahead into this game. Oh, QQ already using his ultimate very early on. The Earthspur comes down just to kind of slow down the rest of the back team, but now Aras is here. He already loses 50% of his HP from Jiro's side. Jiro, he's still going, but Kenji, he's still alive. This is not a good fight.
That is nuts. I mean, look at the amount of damage they put out, and Buck only with 1 tick of health. He's still alive, and there we go. And this is gonna be so fatal for them.
No!
And let's have it. Bazaar turns things around. This is a big reversal, and they are looking to secure 2 in a row for the side of RPL.
They just gift wrapped it this game and handed it over to Bazaar. Looks like good birthday luck coming in here. What a play. We were talking about how even it was, and look how uneven it broke so quickly off a single catch.
1 catch by the river, and from the side of well, the AOG side, they really thought they would have it in the back, and Fab TV, they did not know how quick they responded. And boy, that was a huge swing of an event and resulted in this big turnaround. My goodness.
Holy, TCB is so good. He's so good on the Nacross. They really should reconsider its second ban phase, man. Yikes! That's got to be really disheartening. I have to admit, really disheartening from FTV because they were playing so well until that point and they were really holding their ground. But congratulations, MVP of this game, Aras. He was doing an absolutely phenomenal job catching people off with that ultimate. Oh, well done, well done.
Way too good. Aras so far. You know, I did complain about the double trouble for a little bit, but the final one definitely redeemed himself. And I got no other complaints. He still managed to keep himself safe the whole time. And of course, they got this big win for the big boy that just turned 15. Marky holds his own all too well.
Talk about a good day. A good day indeed. Marky's played well. DCB was just absolutely ridiculous. Aras, MVP. QQ definitely had his moments of like definite shock and fear where he uses his ultimate preemptively to try and protect himself from Bug. But Ara, this must be especially frustrating for him. Goes in on the fight. He basically chunks out like half the entire team, can't get back out, and unfortunately gets shot down by Aras.
Yeah, and Buck was falling in suit of that sort of the commotion that they had, and he had to just make his way out, and he did survive with only 1 dot of health, literally like 1 HP.
Dot.
Like, I thought that, you know, DCB would have wiped him off by the end of it all, but oh boy, this was way closer than anybody would have imagined, and this definitely crushes the confidence that FTV has, especially now that they don't really have all too much. With that being said, you know, they were standing somewhere in the middle, And of course, with this loss, they get pushed downwards.
It's gotta suck. They played so well until that final fight that went horribly wrong, and it all ended. Even though after they struggled for so long, going back and forth with who had the gold lead, who didn't have the gold lead, and they kept doing it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until finally it reached a point where it looked like it was very convincingly going to be FTV if this game was going to drag any longer. And right at that point, they lost the game. Oh, that hurts the soul.
Yeah, of course, for the AOG side, not to worry, you still have more representatives to be battling it all out throughout the entirety of the week, because we got more matches in store for you tomorrow. That was our very final one, but of course, this concludes the total of matches for today.
Yes, it does. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying it as much as we have at the table. They have been, you know, very, very clean games overall. No draw so far when we're on the table.
That was almost a draw.
There was almost a draw. That's
This
fair.
close.
That close. That close.
Oh boy, I really want to look into it, you know, how the standing is going to be looking for now. But, you know, I'm pretty sure that...
Let's give it some time. Let's give it some
we'll
time.
give it some time, and then we'll get all of that updated, and then you guys will know what to expect for tomorrow as well. This will be the results for today in Group B. Starting off with one team versus Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves managed to take it away 2-0. Today it was more about the 2-0 victories, as we also look at Team Flash taking on Team Elvo for his big win for the World Champion side, and we just witnessed an incredible game coming from Bazaar Gaming.
Yeah, a lot of people is going to be, oh no, my team lost. It was actually a lot closer than you think. Don't worry, these weren't just easy games. These were very, very tough games. Very contradictory to what we saw earlier. But here's the current standing with Bazaar Gaming still on top. Right under them, Buriram United Esports. Below them is going to be Flash Wolves. In fourth place, it's going to be Team Flash. Finally, it's going to be FTV, One Team, and Team Elvo.
Wow, with that 2-0 victory, it seems like Bazaar Gaming managed to push their rivals from the RPL side only 1 point above them, and we can see that sort of disparity is due to that draw that Buriram United had, and this could have been a draw. Just mind you, it can be pretty much even in terms of score.
And don't worry, remember, Buriram has only played 8 matches so far. They still have their 9th match to play, and they still got competition up ahead of them. For the next schedule of Group A happening tomorrow, it's going to be Matt Team versus Hong Kong Attitude, followed by Project H versus DG Esports. Finally, the Saigon Phantoms take on Pops Bacon Time.
And of course, make sure you guys tune in. Same time, of course, you can catch on for time right there. We'll be heading in towards our schedules tomorrow. But, you know, for today, that is all for now.
And yes, that's going to be the conclusion for today. What were some of your favorite matches here so far?
I gotta say the last one was really my favorite, and
it has to be, right?
It has to be.
The first two were really just consistent beatings, and they're like, oh boy, they got really difficult to watch because clearly they outclassed their opponent today. They were just really feeling it.
Yeah, and also one of the match that I really did like is to see how clean Flash Wolves actually played out. That was something that, you know, players out there can actually pick up a couple of clue or two on how to execute certain strategies in those sort of matchups.
We're going to wrap it up here at the Caster's Desk. Thank you so much, everybody who has been watching the AOV Premier League, otherwise known as the APL 2020 so far. My name is Getting Q. This is Aaron Contra-Chan. You're going to catch us on our own social medias. Check it out later on. But we're going to wrap this up here. Good day and good night here at the APL. We will see you tomorrow.